Good afternoon, everyone. Along with Eric May, Dave Collins with you as the Lancaster Barnstormers host the West Virginia Power. The Barnstormers grateful to be back home. They've won the first two games of this series. They look for a sweep here this afternoon. Muma excited about the possibility of that this afternoon. She has an extra spring in her step. The Barnstormers have won 8-3 and 8-6 the first two games of this series. But before that, as the old Hollies song from 50 or so years ago, "He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother," started. The road was long, and it had many a winding turn. You could see the Barnstormers' travels 2 out of 3 against Southern Maryland. Then they took 2 out of 3 from York, and they won the opener against the Long Island Ducks. Then the road got a little too long for the Barnstormers. They dropped their last 5, some by whopping margins on that trip, ending the long road trip with a 3-game series against the juggernaut that is the Lexington Legends. But the Barnstormers have had plenty of success coming back home and look forward to potentially the sweep here this afternoon, Eric. It's been so good to get off that bus.
Oh, I'm sure. And, we've talked about this from the beginning. Offensively, this is a team that's going to score a lot of runs. The pitching, and again, we've talked about this, they have had their struggles, but it's got to be encouraging what you've seen out of the last 2 ball games. Those games against Lexington, I mean, that is a powerhouse team, but to give up double digits in 5 consecutive games can take a toll on you.
It was painful. It's painful for the guys in the field. They were out there quite a bit. We come home, Dominic DeSabatino gives a quality start to the ball club on Friday night. It helped to get things set up right away. That was very much needed. Last night we had a young fellow by the name of Cody Boydston come in here out of the Empire League, and he was pitching beautifully until a leg cramp got him in the 4th inning. So Boydston's okay. He's fine. He's 100%. He'll be good to go the next time around as the Barnstormers take the field here for the Sunday afternoon game, and we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the starting lineups in just a moment. Here's your starting lineup for the West Virginia Power, managed by former Somerset Patriot Mark Minikazi, and you may notice some familiar Somerset names in the lineup, like Scott Kelly, who we thought was a lifer in Somerset until they got the affiliation with the Yankees. Jimmy Paredes, Edwin Espinal are all former Somerset Patriots. Jimmy Paredes also played here for a while back in 2018. The big name in the lineup is Alberto Callaspo, longtime Major League third baseman, and most notably the Royals and the Angels. And this is a lineup that knocks out a lot of base hits. We've seen that in this series. Coming into this series, they have 5 or 6 300-plus hitters in this batting order, typifying the Atlantic League here in 2021. But West Virginia, 10-14 right now, but still a very, very good ball club. The Barnstormers defensively today without Melvin Mercedes out there. He's been day in and day out at second base, gets only the second day off this season from second. Devon Torrance with the start today in the outfield, and Anderson De La Rosa catching a day game after a night game. You'll see how much iron De La Rosa is made of at the age of 36 with 2 games in under 24 hours.
Well, the guy is steady. That's all there is to it. You know, I'm looking at your game notes. I mean, there's nothing flashy about Anderson De La Rosa, but he just goes out and gets the job done day in and day out.
On the hill today for the Barnstormers is left-hander Augie Silk. He just turned 23 2 starts ago, 10 days ago. Last time out, he had the opener against Lexington, and he had trouble throwing strikes in the ball game on Tuesday night. He walked 10 in 4 1/3 innings, a franchise record, but he didn't absorb the loss in that game. He kept the club in the game. It fell apart after he left, and the Legends went on to win that one by the score of 13-8. 23-year-old Southern Californian. He hails from Pacific Palisades, and he has given the Barnstormers one of their better starts this year also. The second game of the doubleheader on the Saturday evening at Southern Maryland early on that road trip. He threw 5 innings without allowing an earned run and only gave up 3 hits to the Blue Crabs.
You know, I'm looking at this, you know, in West Virginia, not necessarily living up to their name power. They're last in the league in home runs. They have not hit a triple this season, and they're, last in stolen bases. So a lot of base hits and manufacturing runs, I guess.
It's reminiscent of the Southern Maryland team of 2 or 3 years ago that was up in the league leading clubs in terms of team batting average, but not in runs scored. There is such a thing. Do you remember the term Enos Cabell 300?
No.
Here's Scott Kelly leading off. He's batting .347, and the Barnstormers haven't been able to find a way to get him out in this series. Kelly is 5 for 8 with a pair of walks here this weekend, and ball 1 from Silk.
Wasn't that kind of the story, too, when he was with Somerset? I mean, he's just been a thorn in the side of Lancaster for as long as I can remember.
The guy battles. He's Mr. Baseball. Mark Minikazi told me earlier in this series he made a point of getting Scott Kelly in because of his clubhouse presence and what he brings to the field. Fly ball left field, should be little trouble. Devon Torrance backpedals and has the catch for out number 1. Silk today, his objective is just to come out and get outs. He invoked the name earlier today, Greg Maddux. And more pitchers in this day and age need to take that approach to succeed. Now Maddux, with the electronic strike zone, couldn't have tricked it like I think he did human umpires. That was
right.
Always with Maddux and Glavin, they had that knack of extending the strike zone millimeter by millimeter as the game went along. Here is Teodoro Martinez. He too has had a good series with 3 doubles. First pitch inside, ball 1 on Martinez, 1-0. Former Southern Maryland Blue Crab. And batting .378. Silk up and away for ball 2. The Barnstormers within a game of first place in the Northern Division, but in third. Southern Maryland's 1 over 500. Long Island is 500. The Barnstormers are 1 under. 3 balls and no strikes as Martinez has to do a dance. He entertained us last night, did Teodoro Martinez. There was a pitch similar to that. I, at the time, said that he qualified for the next round of America's Got Talent with his dance moves to get out of there. And later on, he knew he was toast at the plate. Coming home on a play, there's a strike, 3-1. So what did he do? He just walked up and hugged Anderson De La Rosa. It was a great moment. I loved it.
Yeah, you can't fool the robo-ump.
Well, that was actually a tag play at the plate. Shades of, Pete Rose and Ray Fosse, that memorable embrace they had in the All-Star game. Ball 4
is that what he called an embrace?
Sure it was. Just a, sign of physical affection, Neanderthal style. 1 out, runner at first. Jose Tabata, the left fielder, comes to the plate. He's hitting .338. Still giving up the walk. Last night, Barnstormers pitchers walked 10 and got away with it. Only 5 on Friday night. The walk totals are at the level of incredulity. A strike to the outer edge. It is Scott Hart signaling the balls and strikes today. Bill Reuter is at first and Steve Zawiski over at third.
I won't go so far off the thesaurus describing it. I'll just say staggering. I mean, when you look at the numbers, you almost have to do a double take. But when we've seen it as often as we have, you know, it's real.
1-1, ground ball shortstop. Could be tailor-made, fumbled for a second. The relay through Alamon and a double play on Tabata to get out of the inning. 6-4-3. Silk gets the final 2 outs on 1 pitch. Nobody left, and will bring up the Barnstormers in the bottom half of the first inning. Caleb Gindel has become quite a story over the last several days. He has led off 3 games with a home run, twice on the first pitch, and he has homered in 6 consecutive games for the Barnstormers. If he connects again today, it will be a franchise record. He tied Ryan Harvey by homering for the 6th consecutive game last night. Barnstormers also giving a couple of guys days off today. Melvin Mercedes, for example, is not in the lineup for the Barnstormers this afternoon. Kelly Dugan is out of the batting order today. Alamon has moved over to second. See Trayvon Robinson with the start today as the DH. Devon Torrance in left field for the Barnstormers this afternoon. Still, even with some of the utility players in there, it's a formidable batting order.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you look at the numbers, top to bottom, these guys have produced, and we've seen different games where it's been the lower third of the order that's come through, the top, the middle, it all comes together for Lancaster. It's just how many games can you keep coming back, and you know that's why the pitching is so imperative.
Mark Minikazi likes rotating his fielders. The outfield alignment is totally different from last night when Martinez was in left. Ruby Silva had the start in center. Tabata was in right. Today Martinez shifts over to center. The pitch to Gindel. He was going for it on that first pitch. Manny Corpus, the longtime Colorado Rockies reliever, getting the start today. He was just signed by West Virginia yesterday. 38-year-old native of Panama. Exclusively a relief pitcher. 6 seasons with the Rockies, 1 with the Chicago Cubs. And he's been in this league before with Sugar Land and York, also exclusively as a reliever. He's been pitching in Mexico. 0-1 the count to Gindel. Corpus comes back and fades it outside. Ball 1, strike 1. Blake Alleman and Blake Galen scheduled to follow. You see the numbers on Gindel for the season. He is unbelievably hot right now with the long ball. 6 games in a row, 7 and 8 games, 8 and 11 games. Here's the 1-1 to him. Swung on, driven right field. Does it hit high enough? We've got ourselves a record. Caleb Gindel, 7 games in a row, has hit a home run 4 times leading off the contest. You want to talk about hot? What has gotten into Gindel?
Well, it doesn't matter what got into him as long as it stays within him. I mean, we've seen this guy go on tears in the past, but what he's doing right now is just unbelievable.
11th home run of the season for Caleb Gindel. Look at that swing. A line drive up onto the deck out in right field. He's got the record. He knows it. Blake Alleman will come to the plate, and Alleman no slouch in the power department either. Corpus deals a strike. It's 0-1. Caleb Gindel loving every minute, and as I mentioned last night, his parents are here. They've gotten to watch most of this.
Oh, neat. And, it wasn't a bad pitch by Corpus, too. It almost kind of jammed him on the inside, but Caleb just so strong and able to turn on it and get enough lift on it as well, and the record book is all his.
Ryan Harvey's name is erased, which is hard to fathom that somebody could break a home run record set by Ryan Harvey here. Swing and a miss. Alleman goes down on strikes, and it'll bring up the all-time home run leader in a Barnstormers uniform, Blake Galen. Gindel's trying to get there in a hurry. To take a look at the swinging third strike for the second baseman Alleman here today.
Well, and the last time we were here, Blake was still pursuing home run number 100. So
you had to go do the high school playoff game because he hit it that night.
Did he say it was weighing on him?
I think it was. He wanted to get it out of the way. He wanted to actually do it on the first road trip. But for him to get his first save of the year before his first home run.
Yeah, how about that?
It has been bizarro world this entire season. Corpus to Galen. He goes the other way with a towering pop fly. Kelly goes back. Tabata comes in. It'll be the left fielder taking charge. 2 outs for Trayvon Robinson. He's homered on this homestand.
Pretty nice. He's hit safe in his last 2 games, 4 out of 9 with that home run, and just impressive numbers up and down.
One of the guys who's made the dramatic improvement in this batting lineup is all the way down at the number 9 spot, Cleo Luis Rondon. Ever since he took up switch hitting, his average has been on the rise. He's hit about 280 left-handed.
And you talk about playing at home too. Robinson hitting at 455 here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. So yeah, I think he likes the surroundings.
Corpus to Robinson, swing and a miss for a second strike. It's 0-2. Players love being here. We hear it all the time from opposing teams, how much they enjoy coming to Clipper Magazine Stadium, the atmosphere, the fans.
And I see that Clipper Magazine Stadium's in the running for one of the top stadiums.
Trying to defend the title. We'll talk more about that later today. 2 strikes continuing on Robinson, but Clipper Magazine Stadium last year was named the best independent league ballpark in the nation by fan voting through Ballpark Digest, and our favorite stadium is in the finals this year.
That's tremendous.
2 strikes to Robinson. The pitch by Corpus off the outer part of the plate. The run home on the Caleb Gindel history-making home run to start off the afternoon. The only disappointment was that he didn't do it on the first pitch.
Yeah.
As he's done a couple of the times. But imagine leading off 4 games in a span of 6 with a home run. To the backstop for ball 3. And last night he had a bloop single to lead off the game. And one of the other nights, the Thursday night game at Lexington, he had a 398-foot out to dead center field, caught by Cole Sturgeon at the wall.
What is it? Don Mattingly homered in 8 straight?
Someone, I know it was a Yankee.
I think it was Mattingly.
To Robinson. Now 3-2. As he's taking it to full, Alejandro De Aza waits on deck. He's so much fun to watch with a bat in his hand. Swinging the bat like Rod Carew or Tony Gwynn, just pecking balls over the heads of infielders, spraying base hits everywhere. Payoff due to Trayvon. Corpus will bring it home. Slicing liner. Up for it goes Kayaspo for the catch and the final out. Run on a hit. Caleb Gindel makes franchise history. 1 inning in the books, and the Barnstormers are up 1-0. It's a great day to be out on the hillside or anywhere else. Little on the hot side, but it's almost July, so one would expect that.
At least there's a breeze.
Yes. Blowing out toward right. I don't think Gindel's shot is the last home run we see today either.
Leading off the inning for West Virginia, number 25, designated hitter, Jimmy Paredes.
Well, like I said, I mean, if we see it from West Virginia, it'd be a rarity. Cause
they haven't hit one this series, which for visiting teams in here this year is really unusual. The Barnstormers gave up 18 home runs in the 6 games on that first homestand.
Yeah. And West Virginia has 20 on the season.
Here is Jimmy Paredes, former Barnstormer for a month or so, maybe not even a month, back in 18. Pitches down low from Silk, 1-0. Switch hitter, former Philly and Oriole, mostly Houston Astro. Silk lands a pitch right where he wanted it. Paredes batting at a ball and a strike. Now this is the kind of matchup we're seeing in the Atlantic League here in 2021. The way the league has tilted as Paredes lines a base hit out the left, played by Torrance on a hop. You have a lineup that's got Jose Tabata, veteran Pirate, Jimmy Paredes, about 6 or 7 years in the major leagues, largely a utility player. Reimer Liriano has big league time. Alberto Kayaspo, a lot of time in the major leagues, is an everyday third baseman. And they're facing a 23-year-old who played in the rookie leagues in the Kansas City Royals organization in 2019 out of USC. And then everybody lost their jobs with the pandemic last year. If you weren't on a 40-man roster, or it was extended last year, I forget how big it was, but you were fired. It happened to a lot of people, and as ball 2 is low, and a lot of pitchers kind of gave up the ghost, or I guess maybe not fired, but laid off. So a lot of guys went and got other jobs. Mm-hmm. And we've got young pitchers against veteran major league hitters. And the combination is leading to a lot of high-scoring games. The Barnstormers were fortunate. We got a veteran AA, AAA pitcher from the Texas Rangers who came in yesterday, a guy by the name of Francisco Mendoza, who got a hold last night, pitching the 7th and 8th innings. Didn't allow a base hit. He hadn't pitched since 2016, but certainly has the experience. To the outside corner, and 2-1 on Edwin Espinal, who doesn't have a major league background, but still a very dangerous hitter, one of the players that Minikazi got from the old Somerset Patriots ball clubs. Silk with the 2-1, wrapped the third, and underneath the glove of Nick Schumpert, rolling into left field. Runners are at first and second now with nobody out for Reimer Liriano. And we're awaiting a scoring decision on that play. It will go down as an error on Schumpert. Silk got a ground ball that maybe could have been the second double play of the game behind him. It was hit pretty well, but Schumpert sort of looked like he was going to get behind it. Then he tried to play it to the backhand and just didn't. Even if you knock the ball down there, you can get an out. Espinal does not run well.
Right.
So it's first and second for Reimer Liriano. Silk's pitch gobbled up by De La Rosa. It is ball one and no strikes. Alberto Callaspo waits on deck.
Now the key here for Silk is to put that error behind and not let it get in his head. He did what he needed to do. He got the ground ball. And like you said, they should have at least gotten one out. It could have been two, but at least you got to get one.
Foul ball straight back into the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Barnstormers looking to sweep the series against West Virginia, possibly get into a tie for first place by the end of the day. And then it's Long Island coming in for a divisional battle starting on Tuesday. Andro Chatora will be throwing Tuesday night against Brendan Feldman, a right-hander. Pitch in the dirt, bouncing free from De La Rosa, couldn't block that one. And now runners are at second and third. The mistakes compound here in the top half of the second inning.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that bounced way in front of De La Rosa. I mean, he shifted over as if to try and block it, but when it hit the ground, it just shot up in the air.
Two and one on Liriano, high and outside. In danger now of loading the bases, and it could be 2 outs and nobody on. And the pitch in the dirt would have meant nothing.
Right.
It's, like I said, mistakes compound. 3-1 offering, fouled. Liriano has had 2 stints in the major leagues a few years apart. He was with the Padres in 14, the White Sox in 17. But he's been there. He's got that line in the Baseball Encyclopedia. It's 22,000 and some guys who have played Major League Baseball over all these years. Stop to think about it. How many people have lived, worked, died in the United States, Latin America, and now the Pacific Rim, and only 22,000 have played Major League Baseball. That's how exceptional it is to actually be born, grow up playing baseball, go through high school ranks, college ranks, travel teams,
and to reach that pinnacle.
Yeah, it's how unusual it really is when you look at the numbers. Callaspo batting with the bases loaded, ground ball third base, and that one takes a vicious hop on Schumpert and gets away. This is going to bring in one Espinal around third, and we've got a log jam on the bases for West Virginia, and this is going to help eventually a runner being tagged out by Schumpert as Espinal tried to come home. He came around third, stopped. Liriano was already arriving at third base, and the Barnstormers can say thank you very much for that out. We're tied at 1 now with runners at the corners, and we're waiting a ruling on that one. My personal feeling, that just took a vicious hop.
Yeah.
And ate up Schumpert.
Yeah, you could see by his reaction the way he kind of threw the glove up in the air just to try and knock it down, because it did take that big hop on him. And fortunately, it wasn't a Sunday hop either. I mean, that was a well-hit ball.
So it is a single for Callaspo. Paredes scores. Espinal gets tagged out in the traffic jam. He was trying to get back to third and then broke for home. Run down by Schumpert. And the batter is the catcher, Dante Peretti. He was just activated today, and he lines the ball fouled on the right side. It is 0-1. Yovan Gonzalez was originally to be in the lineup this afternoon, but last night in the 9th inning, in the season of strange, Gonzalez doubled as a pinch hitter and then fell over second base and got hurt and was tagged out for the final out of the ball game. he would have been the tying run.
Hey, turn an ankle?
I think that was the case. But scratched from the lineup today. Peretti's in there. 1-1 to him. Is too close for ball 2 and a strike. Dante Peretti is from Danville, California, in the northern part of the state, and just 23 years of age. 0 for 2 on the season. 2-1 pitch popped up. It will carry out a play.
Well, Silk can induce a ground ball like he's done so far a couple of times in this 1+ innings. Chance to get out of it, only giving up 1. And Shumpert's been the focal point defensively.
A hit's on the board on the Cayaspo ground ball. An error is on line. That's lined up the middle, and a base hit for Peretti. He drives in the second run, and West Virginia takes a 2-1 lead. So we'll have to get a final determination on that. But I'm going with the scoreboard because the official scorekeeper, Joel Schreiner, runs the scoreboard as well. So there must have been a miscommunication between the scoring booth and the folks from Major League Baseball. Dante Peretti with a big single. It's 2 runners on and only 1 out in this inning, and that out was created on the bases.
Again, a reminder, fans, if you have purchased a special birthday ticket for Saddle, you can pick up your treats at Section 7 at the top of
The out.
So what do you think's going on in this discussion right now?
Kids, don't forget to join us on the field after the game for kids.
I think it was a quick settle down. This inning is not entirely your fault discussion, would be my guess. The Peretti base hit, that's on Silk. The walk is on Silk. The wild pitch is on Silk. But 1 tough break, 1 error, and now 2 runs are on the board. He could be out of this inning very easily. And I think Ross probably just went out to remind him of that and just settle back down, not panic. Elmer Reyes, batting 190, takes a ball inside. It's 1-0. The out went 7-6, by the way, on Espinal. Heads up by Rendon. Bouncer back to the hill. Silk will only get an out at first base. Don't try to do too much right there.
Yep.
Second and third. We're back to the top of the order in Kelly.
Shortstop, Scott Kelly.
Yeah, because it's plays like that where you think you can get the force out at either third or second, and your throw goes offline a little bit. Now you've got bases loaded. So take the sure out. Now you got 2 outs, and it's still a chance to get out of this inning.
Kelly fly to left, his first time up. The Barnstormers trail. Expect another back and forth game. It's what we saw last night. A 2-1 deficit in the second inning, the way the Atlantic League is playing out this year. Looking at the fact that the Barnstormers are averaging scoring 7 runs a game, you can't be worried about it. You just don't want to let the deficit grow. Upstairs to Kelly for a ball. It's 1-0.
Well, and the thing is, too, you get a couple of these outs. Now this inning doesn't occur. Plus, Silk is throwing 15 so pitches less because he's out of the inning.
The 1-ball pitch off the inside corner, 2-0. Teodoro Martinez waits on deck. These young pitchers, they need to have the plays made behind them, but it's tougher to field when you're out there for a while. Strike on Kelly. It's 2-1. Scott Kelly reached base all 5 plate appearances last night. 3 singles, 2 walks. He scored 2 runs. The only mishap he had was that he was thrown out stealing by De La Rosa in the 3rd inning on what was really a great tag by Melvin Mercedes. 2-1. First base is open here. Silk delivers and gets it there.
Good pitch.
2-2.
Using TrackMan technology, be sure to check out Lancaster. Also uses TrackMan technology to measure your golf swing.
Chance to put him away here. Silk with a 2-2 inside. It goes to a full count. Martinez the on-deck hitter, is not necessarily a great home run hitter, but he is a guy who can knock a lot of doubles around, and at this stage, that would be almost as deadly. 3-2 to Kelly. The payoff inside and low. He walks him. That is the third walk issued by Augie Silk today. And Teodoro Martinez will step to the plate with the bases loaded.
Center fielder Teodoro Martinez.
2 outs have been recorded.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, too, you get that leadoff home run from Gindel. The team's electrified, and you go out and you want to have a shutdown inning, given a lead, and it's kind of spun out of control a little bit here in the second.
Again, you get an out here, and the game is still in good shape.
Yes.
Breaking ball misses inside, 1-0 on Martinez. But Silk is in a position right now. First of all, he has to work himself through it. Ross can't go back out there. This is a very delicate moment early in this game. Ground ball left side, diving play. Rondon goes across the diamond to first. It'll be late. He saved a run, almost made the play of the year for the Barnstormers. Infield single for Martinez, and it's now 3-1 with Jose Tabata coming to the plate. Look at Rondon go headlong. What a play, but he just couldn't get enough on the throw. Martinez is not slow.
Well, not only did he get the throw there, but it was on line, too. I mean, it was a good, strong throw. It's just that he was throwing it basically from his knees.
Earlier in the series, Callaspo threw one from his back and got it on line, but late. The pitch to Tabata with the bases full is high. Ball 1 and no strikes. Outs have been tough to come by here in the second inning.
And again, as West Virginia has done all season long, just a lot of base hits.
High and outside. 2 balls, no strikes. And they're still loaded. He can't afford a walk. And yet another big inning for the opposition where they send at least 9 to the plate, possibly more. 3-0 now on Tabata. One thing about the automated strike zone, it has no compassion, it has no feelings. It's just going to call what it sees, and what it sees there is another walk. 4 given up by Silk. This is now a 4-run inning, and we're back around to where it started with Paredes stepping in. Again, it doesn't mean that this game is anywhere near over. Every team in this league is finding itself short on the pitching side.
Well, Mike Gross of Lancaster Newspapers had a write-up in today's paper, in the Sunday paper, about the pitching. And again, as we have discussed, once minor leagues lost a lot of affiliations, you would have thought that there would have been a plethora of pitchers out there. Now, the thing to consider and remember, next month in July, when the draft happens, that's when you might see teams start releasing some of these guys that Lancaster and other leagues might pick up.
Fly ball right field, back on it goes Gindel, looking up. Gindel just about to the wall, makes the catch against Paredes to end the inning. A heart-thumping moment for Augie Silk and the Barnstormers. 4 runs across the plate. And we're going to go with the scoreboard here. 4 hits with 1 error in the inning. 3 runners left on. It's 4-1 West Virginia.
Well, it's the final game of this series, and then after a day off tomorrow, we'll have more Barnstormers baseball for you as the Long Island Ducks come to town Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We'll have the game for you Tuesday night, first pitch at 6:30, and that's going to end up turning into what's going to be a very busy month of July of Barnstormers baseball here in Lancaster.
Well, the Barnstormers send De Aza, De La Rosa, and Torrance to the plate in the bottom half of the second inning. This has been the week for the Barnstormers. We're off on Monday. We're actually going to take it back to the Long Island series. It took us 7 hours to get to Long Island a week ago Friday. The traffic was bad as soon as we got to the New York City Metro. It was ludicrous the entire way, bumper to bumper for the last 50, 60 miles of the trip. We were in good shape. We were in North Jersey, just about to get on the GW Bridge about 1 o'clock. We got there at 5. It was awful. 1-0, the count on De Aza. Ball 2 is outside Alejandro from Manny Corpus. A couple of veteran major leaguers. These two must know each other fairly well. Although Corpus was mostly a National Leaguer and De Aza spent a lot of time in the American League. 2 balls, no strikes. Alejandro lets it go, taken for a strike. It is 2-1.
Well, but anytime you drive to New York, you almost expect it because...
But it's never taken us longer than 5. We plan the trip to take 5 hours max. Sometimes we get there in 3.5. Ball 3. It's 3-1 on De Aza as the Barnstormers try to recover from a 4-run top of the inning. And just to clear it up, it was an E5 on Espinal and a base hit for Callaspo. We were correct in our assessments here, and Joel Schreiner, the official scorekeeper, had agreed with us. 3-1. De Aza will look at ball 4 and work out a leadoff walk.
All right, so now it's Lancaster's turn to be patient at the plate, make Corpus throw some strikes, and try and get back some of those runs that they had just given up in the top half of the second. In addition to that, giving Silk a chance to kind of catch his breath because it's another hot afternoon here, and the longer you're out on the field, the more it could take a toll on you.
After watching the starting pitcher last night dehydrate to an extent and cramp up, though he had also driven 8 hours to get here from Plattsburgh, New York. So there were extenuating circumstances for Cody Boydston last night. He did well. Anderson De La Rosa had the biggest hit last night, a tie-breaking 2-run double in the fifth. Outside and low to him for a ball, 1-0. And somewhere in the back of the mind of Manny Corpus, he's saying, "Donde está the strike zone?" Which I don't know exactly how that translates. 1-0. Está allí. It is there. 1-1.
Guess I need to sharpen up on my Spanish.
One of the best moves I ever made was studying Spanish in high school. And I did it because a lot of baseball players, even back in the 70s when I was in school, spoke Spanish. So I thought it would be the right foreign language to take. And I haven't regretted it 1 minute. It helps in this business so much just to be able to speak very basic Spanish. De La Rosa batting 2-1, 3 balls and a strike now from Corpus. I mean, I think Anderson thinks it's cute, but I text him in Spanish from time to time. He obliges and texts back in Spanish, and I'm sure they get a chuckle out of it. My Spanish is not that good, but it's there, and at least they can understand me. 3-1. Corpus to De La Rosa. That is ball 4, and the throw is for naught. Back-to-back walks for Corpus. here in the second inning. Devon Torrance, the Lancaster left fielder, will step in.
You know, I don't know if you noticed in pitching to De La Rosa, Corpus was using different release points.
Well, that's his game. We've watched him enough in this league with Sugar Land and York. Yeah, he changes his arm slot. It's very effective. If you have a fastball, slider, changeup, but throw fastball, slider, changeup from two different arm slots, 6 pitches.
Yeah.
Pitching coach Paul Menhart out to have a word with Corpus. Paul Menhart, not too long ago, was the pitching coach for the Washington Nationals at the major league level. You want to talk about bringing in a heavy hitter. Mark Minikazi was able to do just that. We spoke earlier about Clipper Magazine Stadium being in the running for the best ballpark in the Major League Partner Leagues here in 2021. It would be defending the title, and obviously those of us who work here are very proud of this stadium and everything it has to offer, and how the fact that it opened 16 years ago and looks like it opened yesterday, which is a tribute to the great staff that we have here. You can get online. It's available on the Barnstormers website, the link to it, or go to ballparkdigest.com. It's Clipper Magazine Stadium against Franklin Field in suburban Milwaukee, home of the Milwaukee Milkmen. High drive out toward left center field by Torrance. Racing back on it is the left fielder Tabata. He makes a very good play. Ahead to third goes Deaza on the deep fly out for Devon Torrance, and for the Barnstormers now runners at the corners and 1 out for Nick Shumpert.
Yeah, that ball really took off and carried well, even though the wind is blowing from left to right. And just real smart base running on the part of Deaza.
Ross Peoples made Alejandro Deaza his first pick in the New Britain dispersal draft after the 2019 season, even though Deaza had his contract purchased. He was at the time with the Minnesota Twins organization. Ground ball foul past third. 1 strike on Shumpert with Rondon waiting on deck. It wasn't just the .346 batting average that Deaza had. Ross picked up what a smart player he is. He just knows this game inside and out. And you saw it with that base running right there. He knew that Tabata, a major league veteran as well, was in no position to get off a throw.
No, I really thought maybe Martinez would have called him off.
0-1. Shumpert with a pop fly out to shallow right field. The second baseman going back, that is Elmer Reyes, to make the catch. First and third now at 2 outs. And Cleo Luis Rondon will step in. 233 hitter is Cleo, but 280 from this left side of the plate. He has swung the bat very well, left-handed.
Well, now you need that big 2-out hit. You got to get this runner home at third base. You don't want to leave guys in scoring position, especially at third.
Especially because we had first and second, nobody out. First and third, 1 away. To Rondon, he won't leave it there. Line base hit right field. It's rolling all the way to the wall. Deaza has scored. De La Rosa will chug the third. And into second with an RBI double is Cleo Luis Rondon to make it 4-2.
Well, I don't know how. I did not look out there. I don't know where they had Liriano located, but he was nowhere to be seen in the picture until he got to the warning track. Clutch RBI.
5th double for Rondon, his 12th run batted in. Well, he has swung the bat well left-handed. Soon to be the father of a baby girl. They had a gender reveal here last night. And he swung the bat, hit the ball, and pink powder came flying out. Cleo is grinning from ear to ear. To Gindel outside, it is ball 1. Manny Corpus may want to be a little bit careful with the hottest hitter on planet Earth.
Well, and the thing is, you talked about Diaz and his experience of what he has meant to this team, and he was the leadoff hitter for the longest time. But how do you not put Gindel in the leadoff spot the way he's swinging the bat right now?
Tying runs are out there here in the bottom of the second inning. Corpus working to Gindel and off the plate to the outside, 2-0. And you get the slight feeling, without directly being able to read into the minds of the West Virginia Power, they'd rather take on Alamond right now. No knock against Blake.
You're not going to see anything in the heart of the plate. Or I'd be surprised.
To Gindel, lined right at the first baseman. Espinal gloves it for the final out. Well, they did take their chances, and Caleb Gindel hits it well, but lined out. And that will end the inning. Rondon doubles in one. The Barnstormers still very much alive in this one at the end of 2, 4-2. It's already a high-scoring game this afternoon, 4-2 through 2 innings, as you get a shot at the reigning best ballpark in the Major League Baseball Partner Leagues. 4 days left to the voting, 4.5 days left. It ends midnight on Thursday. Clipper Magazine Stadium is in the lead, but we don't want to take anything for granted. It's the battle of the dairy-based ballparks in a lot of ways. Franklin Field, home of the Milkmen, against the Lancaster Barnstormers. Agriculture rules the partner leagues.
I was waiting for a play on words or something from you.
Augie Silk completes his warm-up throws. We head to the top of the third inning. Edwin Espinal will lead things off here in the third. Espinal is a big fella, and thankfully he is, because you can recognize him when he steps in the box. He's had 3 different jersey numbers in 3 days. But we know it's Edwin Espinal, so no harm done.
He's trying to find the right one that works for him.
Silk's delivery is right there for a called strike. It's 0-1. Apparently his jersey didn't get packed somehow.
Uh-oh.
Now, on TV, I can read the numbers just fine. I can see this is number 46. In person, somebody asked me the other night, are you having a hard time reading the numbers? And my response was, what numbers? Ground ball, shortstop. Rondon gloves this as time for the throw. 6-3.
Yeah,
down goes Espinal.
I'm not a fan of these numbers that are so close to the actual jersey color. It is just so difficult to read sometimes. Especially, when it comes to football, because then the
Get
kids
muddy.
sweat, and then all of a sudden the jersey becomes darker, and then number already is dark to begin with. Yeah, well, with more and more teams going to turf fields, at least that's a silver lining.
They don't have to scrub the uniforms at Gastonia or High Point. Both fields are all turf, including the so-called dirt sections. It's brown carpet instead of green.
Yep. Except for the pitcher's mound, right?
No, the pitcher's mound's turf too.
Oh, geez.
So's the batter's box.
Oh, I thought at least the pitcher's mound would have been dirt.
No.
Wow.
It's a very interesting look when you see it for the first time.
And what do the pitchers have to think of it?
They get used to it. Yeah, they actually have gotten used to it. I haven't heard any complaints about it this year because we opened on those two fields. We went to Gastonia and then High Point on the first road trip. Here's 2-1. Ball 3 is outside. But watching those rubber pellets fly up with guys sliding into bases,
Yeah.
that's different altogether. That was ball 4 to Liriano. It's taking him several moments to undress, and now he heads to first base. I thought that was ball 4, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the guy to take his base. He took about 83 times as long as Pete Rose on a walk. The batter is the switch-hitting third baseman Callaspo. To the plate and a strike.
I can tell you, Pete Rose never would have been wearing an elbow pad, a forearm pad, bicep pad. No. Never.
Multiply invoking the name of Pete Rose here today. Strike 2 on the outside corner.
I don't think he ever wore long sleeves.
The question is, would Pete Rose even be drafted or signed by anybody today? And the dirt past De La Rosa. That'll be a second wild pitch for Augie Silk this afternoon. Callaspo batting at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Why, are you thinking he wouldn't?
There's a possibility he wouldn't. As a matter of fact, he wasn't heavily scouted back in the day. I knew the scout that was signed him or passed on him, guy by the name of Dale McReynolds back in the day, and we had a discussion about that. Not very many teams were interested in him. Foul back our way, but Eric May still will not have a souvenir.
Well, plus, I got that billboard that's kind of in front of me as well. I'd have to get a ricochet, I think.
One will have to bounce in here.
Yeah.
I believe that I can get one in Lexington. Ground ball, shortstop. The runner holds. Rendon sets and pours it across the diamond. Callaspo retired. Liriano still at second, but again, you pay the price for the wild pitch. That's a possible double play ground ball.
Yep. Yeah, they very well could have 3 double plays here in this game.
Leaves the inning up to Dante Peretti, who singled in a run with a sharp base hit up the middle back in the second inning. Runner at second with 2 outs, and Silk is down and in. Ball 1, no strikes. Ross Peoples brought 3 pitchers in yesterday. They all pitched last night, covering 7 of the 9 innings. Goodson was used for an inning. Schumann was used for an inning, and that was it. Fouled off. It's 1-1. Ross has had a really hard time piecing together a pitching plan.
Oh.
The other night was so good with DeSabatino going 6 innings. It helped to slot the bullpen. And
sure.
We got the 3 guys, McCrum, Moya, and Granitz, who threw a scoreless inning each. Check swing. He went too far, says the first base umpire, Bill Reuter.
Oh.
Borderline.
Just enough.
Silk with a chance to get out of the inning here, and he does. Swing and a miss First strikeout for Augie here today. A scoreless top half of the third for West Virginia. They leave one. Still 4-2 in favor of the Power as we go to the bottom of the third. Family Day at the old ballpark this afternoon, as is every Sunday at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Pre-game catch on the field. Kids get to run the bases after the game. We love seeing the families out here.
Well, and of course, the weather's cooperated, and as it's been all season long, the fireworks on Saturday, always a big show as well.
We had fireworks here on Friday night, too. Completely unplanned, and they weren't on site, but all of a sudden it had to do with Celebrate Lancaster. I don't know where they were shooting them, but all of a sudden in the top of the eighth inning, Gabriel Moya is on the mound, and fireworks start exploding out beyond the right center field wall, and it almost had to force us to stop the game. To Blake Alamond, ball one is outside. Blake a strikeout victim in the first inning.
I thought Celebrate Lancaster's more done near the campus of F&M.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Which in this case would be over towards left center.
It was over the right center field fence, and the explosions were loud. It wasn't off in the distance where you just, hear a little crackle or a little pop. We were hearing the full-fledged boom, and it rattled everybody initially. Three 3-0 to Blake Alamond. He's trying to reach, starting off the Barnstormers half of the third and get something else going. He'll take the walk. 3 given up by Corpus. It's now a total of 8 walks on the afternoon. Can we go for 35, Eric May?
Oh, bite your tongue. I don't want to even come remotely close to that. That is, no.
Bill Reuter told me, I didn't look this up, Bill Reuter told me, because they were here for that game, that was the major league record. It was the professional baseball record for length of a 9-inning game and number of walks in a 9-inning game.
Well, he was behind the plate that night, I think.
No balls and a strike. I can check that, but I think you're right. He was.
I just remember a couple of times why he flinched thinking he was going to signal strike, and robo-ump said ball.
Bill, by the way, swears up and down that I did the voiceovers for the Trackman system. Throw to first, and Blake Alamond settles back in. I guess I've just got the everyman speaking voice. People hear me everywhere, and it's not true. I did not do the voiceovers for the automated ball strike system. 0-1, the count to Galen.
Did you audition for it?
I didn't. I didn't know the job was available.
Oh.
I might have gone for it. I could have done it as the Count from Sesame Street. Ball Vaughn, mud ball. Why not? Alleman leads from first to Galen 1-1. Over the top of that, that's 1-2. Trayvon Robinson, Alejandro De Asa to follow. Everybody batting from the left side of the plate in the first 5 in the Lancaster batting order today, and 7 of the 9 total, which is par for the course. But if you get a left-hander out there, Alleman moves around, Robinson moves around, Torrance moves around, Rendon moves around. A ball and 2 strikes. Galen gets underneath, pops it up foul, but this will carry to the crowd behind the plate and rattles around on a chair or two. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Did I understand correctly that we are having ice cream delivered our way on a nice hot Sunday afternoon at the I can't think of anything better, except for the fact that there's no black raspberry in the stadium this year.
Well, then you have to have a conversation with somebody.
What did black raspberry do? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Galen tries to hold on the swing and he doesn't. He gets rung up by Scott Hart. And Corpus has his second strikeout as Robinson will step in.
Well, I think that was just his momentum carrying him. He tried to hold up, but the shift in his hips leaning forward pushed him across as well.
It wasn't that the bat didn't come around, his body did.
Yeah.
Bringing the bat with it. He never so-called broke the wrists or anything there, but his body pivoted, bringing the bat through.
It's a tough way to be called out on strikes.
Robinson with a tapper foul. It's 0-1. Lancaster down 2 here in the 3rd inning.
You know, as you mentioned in the open too, this is Lancaster's first chance at a series sweep this season, but I think just to get some real confidence going into this series against Long Island, who took 2 out of 3 when they played up in New York, it'd be nice to go in there with a 3-game win streak.
Long Island is in the same situation as everybody else now. They've lost a lot of their pitching. They will still have a couple of Atlantic League veterans, Joe Iorio and Vin Mazzaro, to make starts in the upcoming series, but their bullpen's really thinned out. Back in is Alleman. Barnstormers have been using the speed element of their game some in this series, but not to its full extent. Robinson, chopper up the line at first, and a foul ball handled by Espinal. No balls and 2 strikes.
So what's your take on this recent change in Major League Baseball now with umpires checking these pitchers on a regular basis? You think it's...
Well, it slows the game down. I mean, you certainly should have to have just cause. I saw the incident with Max Scherzer. I was worried about that for a split second. Ball is outside to Trayvon, 1-2. We've already had one Steve Lyons incident on the field. We don't need any more.
Well, I think the one with Steve Lyons was purely accidental. I think Max Scherzer was trying to make a point.
He was. Sidearm delivery stung up the middle, base hit right center field. Alleman is going to be able to make the turn and head to third easily. Robinson with a base hit into right center, and for the Barnstormers, men at the corners for Alejandro De Asa.
Well, and Alleman had a great view of this ball. Once it got through the infield, he knew that it was going to reach the gap. There was no slowing down. He made that bend to make the turn and zip on over to third base. And again, Lancaster now in a situation, you got runners in scoring position. You got to get these guys home.
First and third with 1 out. Just get the runner across from third base. Then you've got a 1-run game. You want more. You always want to be greedy, especially the way this league's playing out this season. The Barnstormers have already been involved in 4 games where both clubs have reached double figures. Outside to De Asa for a ball.
This guy, he just handles the bat so well.
He's hit safely in every one of his starts here at home so far. Pounded toward the gap, left center field. Nobody's getting to that on the fly. That is going to roll all the way to the wall at the fattest part of this ballpark. Aleman scores. Robinson follows. De Asa on his way to third. He is standing with a triple, and we're tied at 4.
Perfect time to get your first triple of the year. Again, not only does it shoot the gap, but it goes towards the deepest part of this ballpark, and that is an easy score for Trayvon Robinson from first base.
The Barnstormers have knotted this ball game at 4 on the 3-base hit by Alejandro De Asa. Now Anderson De La Rosa coming to the plate with an opportunity to put his team in the lead. Triples are not commonplace in this ballpark unless you hit the ball into that gap, and De Asa found it perfectly. It's just the second Barnstormers triple of the season. Melvin Mercedes had the other. 1 out with the runner at third. The defense will play back. De La Rosa with a swing and a foul ball off to the right.
Well, you can see on that swing, too, he was holding up just enough, if anything, to try and hit it to the right side.
The Mercedes triple also came on a home Sunday against the York Revolution 3 weeks ago. No balls and a strike to Anderson De La Rosa. Corpus comes back, swing and a miss. It is 0-2. Devon Torrance waits on deck. Torrance tried to shoot that same gap back in the second inning, but he got a little too much air underneath. Tabata went back to make the play. Neither Tabata nor Martinez could get close to that drive off the bat of De Asa. De La Rosa bats 0-2. Corpus ready to go. And Anderson sticks the bat out to punch that one away. Didn't like it.
Yep. Nice defensive swing. Foul out of play. Live to see another pitch.
One of the all-time good guys in baseball, Anderson De La Rosa. He has played this game professionally for nearly 2 decades now. 0-2. Corpus to the plate, bouncing ball third. De Asa is going to come home. The throw from Callaspo goes across the diamond. The Barnstormers have taken a 5-4 lead now. Devon Torrance will step in with the bases empty.
Well, again, a good read by De Asa, and a ball not hit that hard. If that ball is screamed down to third base, he's got to play at home.
He also knew Callaspo was playing back.
Yeah.
If Callaspo is up, De Asa probably doesn't break for home. Torrance's fly ball to Tabata back in the second inning, deep enough to move De Asa from second to third. As we talk about Alejandro's base running knowledge. Rico Noel may have been the most instinctive base runner we've ever had here, but as Torrance pops it up, but Noel also had the blazing speed, so there was more he could do.
Yeah, it helps to have that.
Not that Diaz is slow, but he's not at the Rico Noel level.
No. Is he still playing anywhere?
I haven't picked up on it. I'd have to look. He was with Sugarland after he left here. What an exciting player he could be. Torrance bats 0-2 with the bases empty. Manny Corpus will bring it home and deal low. Talk about the pitch counts. Augie Silk is at 64 through the first 3 innings, and that, I believe, was the 54th chuck for Corpus. It was. Torrance batting 1-2. Again, a defensive swing and a pitch that rode in on him. Looped foul into the seats. 1 ball, 2 strikes continuing. Later on in the season, Eric, you and I and Devon can get together and have our own little Cleveland Browns party.
Should be exciting. But the thing is, they've done a lot of good things and a lot of hype, but as it says on that Missouri license plate, show me.
So many strides last year, but they also had an easy schedule. I think we have to stipulate to that. It gets much harder this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I love the draft. The offense stays the same. They bulked up the defense. If Delpit, Williams, those guys can stay healthy, could be a good year. Torrance lobs one toward the right field wall, but he pulled it foul. Still 2-2. Torrance hit a couple of home runs to right field here 2 years ago.
So Torrance, native of Ohio?
He is from Canton. He grew up within walking distance of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, my.
He is definitely a football guy by background and can talk about the sport at length. Driven out to left field again, and Tabata was playing shallow. That ball is over his head. Torrance is off to the races. He will sprint toward third and make it easily with the Barnstormers' second triple of the inning.
Well, once it got over his head, Torrance knew that, and that's when he kicked it into 5th gear.
Tabata playing him a little bit too shallow. Devon Torrance has his first extra base hit of the season. Nick Shumpert can pick up an extra run in this bottom half of the 3rd inning. It's all offense every day.
And I think there was a split second where Tabata maybe didn't pick it up. Well, that split second cost him. It froze him for a second, and then he started to go back on it, and that 1 or 2 extra steps made the difference.
Corpus to Shumpert. Swung on and missed. And the ball getting away, and Peretti tries to feed back home. Torrance able to sprint home and score. It is 6-4. Peretti with a desperation throw, and Torrance and Corpus get tangled up at home plate. This is some crazy season so far. The Barnstormers get their 6th run on the board. I'm going to trust that's a wild pitch.
I would think so.
Shumpert now batting 1-0, and the bases are again empty. That didn't deter Devon Torrance at all. He scores the 4th run of this inning, and we've got another slugfest on our hands, Eric May.
Well, and you even said it too. When West Virginia got those 4 second-inning runs, it's saying, hey, there's still a lot of baseball to play yet. And with this lineup and the way that they can score runs, that's nothing. Well, they've proven it. They answered with 1 in the 2nd and now 4 so far here in the 3rd, with, of course, a chance to still get more.
Line drive right to the 3rd baseman, Kayasba, who handles it to end the inning. And Nick Shumpert to tease off on Corpus, but he's denied. 4 runs are home. 2 triples in the inning. Don't see that often. 3 hits altogether, and nobody left on base, and the Barnstormers lead 6-4. On top of everything else, today is Silo's 17th birthday. Muma giving birth or hatching or whatever. Putting together something out of a mound of fur. Somewhere right around this date in 2004. We celebrate Silo's birthday every year, so happy birthday to our favorite non-gender specific bovine-like creature.
So what's in a birthday cake for Silo? What are the ingredients?
Lots of milk.
Cream? Or milk.
Yeah. Butter. Elmer Reyes leads off the fourth in this wild game. Augie Silk will deliver high and outside. It is ball one and no strikes.
Oats, grain, grass?
Yeah. One ball and no strikes. 2-0 now from Silk.
No, I think it hit him.
Yeah, it did. Reyes is on. The walks are one thing you can talk about. The strike zone may be a little bit smaller overall, harder to reach, but the Barnstormers as a ball club now have hit a crazy number of batters. They've hit 26 on the season, and they have thrown 33 wild pitches. Scott Kelly is the batter, up for the third time. He has flied to left and walked in the contest today. A pitch from Silk, foul to the screen. It's 0-1.
Well, we've seen a number of pitchers from Silk this afternoon diving in towards the ankles of these power batters.
Which is a great pitch. It's the Steve Carlton, Ron Guidry slider down and in that was so incredibly effective for the two of them. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. And arguably the best game ever pitched by a Barnstormer, or only no-hitter, Lenny DiNardo. A left-hander who pretty much did it all with a cutter. Got so many ground balls to third base that night. It could be extremely effective, and in fact, probably the best approach for a left-handed pitcher in this ballpark. Though it's not Nate Reed's pitch. Nate Reed, 33 wins as a Barnstormer largely with a changeup, and he's done extremely well for himself in this league. Pitcher of the year in 2018. I haven't heard an update whether or not he's going to join us. It was the plan. 1-2 doesn't bite the outside corner.
Well, didn't you say he was coaching a high school team?
Coached Ole Valley to the state finals and lost.
Okay, well that was just a little more than a week ago.
Tip of the cap to Nate Reed. We could use him. All the way to the backstop and out onto the field. To second goes Reyes.
That pitch went behind Kelly. Oh my.
It triggers that immediate reaction. Hey, what did I do? The other night we had two bench clearing incidents in succession against Lexington with Yoel Espinal on the hill. And my comment was simply that if you looked at the stat sheet, if you're Lexington, you know he's not trying to hit you. It's just that's the way it's gone for him. One batter already hit this inning, 3-2 on Kelly and a pitch behind him. The Barnstormers lead by 2 runs. They're not trying to hit anybody.
No,
that would just be silly right now.
And it's stuff like this that's putting Silk in a difficult spot. Now you got a runner in scoring position, but again, it comes down to him hitting the batter and then the wild pitch advancing the runner. Opportunities, at least 3, or I mean, they did turn 1 double play, but you know, had the scenario to turn 2 other ones. It's all things like that that start to add up.
Meanwhile, the Barnstormers' bats are just pounding away with extra base hits. That is strike 3 called.
Yes,
and
indeed.
A beauty. Augie Silk strikes out his second.
I think Scott Kelly thought he had himself a free pass.
Looked good on the replay. Runner at second, 1 out. Teodoro Martinez steps in. One of the great things about the Atlantic League is players move around this league. You can make some connections, as the Barnstormers have. Right-hander warming up in the bullpen. I believe that is Espinal. It looked like 26.
Yes.
Ball 1 to Teodoro Martinez. Espinal made a couple of starts. His first start against Long Island last Saturday didn't go badly. He walked 7 in 5 innings, but hardly gave up any hits and only a couple of earned runs. He ended up on the short end of an extraordinarily low-scoring game by all accounts this season. 3-1. What is that idea? That's an inning. Two balls, no strikes to Martinez. Skied to the right, now to play. Look out on Prince Street.
We talked about between innings, where the pitch count was with Silk, and if we could get him to go 5 innings, that could be a huge lift for this Barnstormers bullpen and really help Ross kind of set the stage for the rest of the ball game.
2-1. Chopper up the line at third, kicks foul, and a good thing. There would have been no play. 2-2. But as I was saying, you get to know players, make friends around this league, and ball players get to the Atlantic League, 95% of them are really good guys from all kinds of different backgrounds. Ex-big leaguers, you get a guy like Scott Kelly, his entire career's been in the Atlantic League. He's been able to make a go of it here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Silk deals. That's strike 3 called also. Back-to-back punch-outs for Augie Silk. 2 gone, and Tabata will step to the plate. Grounded into a double play, and he's walked.
I don't think Martinez or Kelly were quite in agreement with Robo Ump, but that pitch appeared to be in the zone.
Scott Hart doesn't have the most aggressive third strike call you'll ever see. 2 outs with the runner at second. Silk works above the zone to Tabata for ball 1 and no strikes.
I mean, think about it. Now this has changed the home plate umpires and their calls of balls and strikes. Some guys are much more emphatic when it comes to a punch out. So that has been kind of squelched.
2-0. I mean, what would Leslie Nielsen have done in The Naked Gun? It would have ruined that whole movie.
Yeah.
Was that the first one or the second one with the Queen visiting Dodger Stadium, and he went undercover as the home plate umpire? Ground ball, nice play by Galen. To the bag he goes.
The second, I think.
1 runner left on base. We're through 3.5, 6-4 Lancaster. Another look at Clipper Magazine Stadium on this summer Sunday afternoon, along with Eric May. Dave Collins with you from America's #1 Major League Partner League ballpark. Trying to defend that title. Clipper Magazine Stadium leading in the voting, but don't take anything for granted.
No.
Never got into this until last summer during the pandemic. Clipper Magazine Stadium kept moving ahead through the bracketed rounds. Ended up beating Gary, Indiana in the finals last year. Now it's another American Association park against Clipper Magazine Stadium in the finals. Clay Luis Rondon runs up as if the bunt, takes a strike from Manny Corpus. It is 0-1. But to get to the finals, Clipper Magazine Stadium had to move past People's Bank Park in York and Truist Point in High Point. Back-to-back Atlantic League rivals going down. 0-1, and Rondon tees off and lines another. This one into right field, a base hit, and Cleo is 2 for 2.
Well, didn't they beat High Point in the voting last year or 2 years ago?
Potential. I don't know about 2 years. I wasn't following it until the pandemic, and then it became important to us during the pandemic because the ownership, the management here was trying to promote the ballpark as a great all-around venue and not just a baseball stadium, and they did so very, very successfully for a small group events last summer. To Gindel outside. Caleb with that historic home run leading off the ball game, and he's lined to first. What a run he's on. 7 games in a row with a home run. Ball 2 from Corpus, far outside. 2 balls and nothing. Corpus's pitch count is up to 68. Check that, I think it's 65. 2 balls and nothing. Gindel takes ball 3, that broke low. Barnstormers trying to add more to the coffers in the bottom of the 4th inning. Manny Corpus was pitching in the Pacific Association, or rather the Pecos League. They did get going this year. The Pacific Association did not. And with Bakersfield in the Pecos League, he was 2-0 with a sub-1 earned run average. 3-0 pitch. Gindel, a scorcher foul up the first base sign.
Well, when you're red hot like he is, I'm sure he got the green light if he liked the pitch on 3-0. And he did, but just pulled it foul.
To Gindel, 3-1, and he got under it way too much. The wind is pushing it, though. Look out, back it goes, and the walls won't contain it. Teodoro Martinez kept fading back and back and back and ran out of room. Caleb Gindel with his 2nd of the day. Good heavens, is he hot.
Now, wait a minute. Who got that home run ball? That's our own John Kilgore out there in right center field.
8 in 7 games. To 12 on the season, and he got under it way too much. The wind is pushing it, though. Look out, back it goes, and the walls.
You know, when it went off the bat, I didn't think it was going to go either. I thought it was going to be a routine
fly. We lost it in the overhang, but it looked like a routine fly ball off the bat. I was watching Martinez. He appeared to have it gauged, and all of a sudden, that fly ball from Gindel stuck its thumb out and hitched a ride on the breeze and left the yard. 1 strike to Allemond. He is struck out and he is walked. Liner foul into the seats down the third base line. I don't want to hear anybody from around the league when you talk about Gindel in this home run spree saying, well, look, he plays at Clipper Magazine Stadium where it's 300 down the line. That was one of maybe 2 in this streak where he's gotten a little bit of assistance from this ballpark.
All right, so what's the distance in right center field?
It's legitimately about 345 or 350. It's not deep out there. And I'm thinking to where the home run harbor used to be, which is now covered up by signage, where he hit that is probably 370, 375.
Yeah.
Peretti out to talk to Corpus. There's a 15-year age gap here. I believe the word sir must be used. Lancaster has scored in every inning.
Well, when you're on a tear like Gindel is on right now, you get it up in the currents, and yeah, that flag is flowing, and you get it up there. It's going to help. But boy, still, he just right now is just unbelievable.
Aleman drives this to straightaway center field. Martinez going back, squares up to make the catch here. Out number 1 is recorded in the 4th inning. Blake Galen will step in. He's 0 for 2. But you still have to make contact well enough. And what Gindel has done over the last several days, it started last Sunday at Long Island. The Barnstormers were down 18-6 going into the 9th inning. Gindel homered to lead off the inning to right field, hit a 3-run double into the left field corner later that inning. He's homered in every single game since. It's just almost to the point where it's sick. Ball outside to Galen. Well, it is 1-0.
He started the afternoon as the league leader in home runs. Well, he's added to that total. Led the league in runs scored. Continues to add to that total. His total bases, and when you're on a home run streak like that, you are just going to skyrocket when it comes to total bases. He started the game 4 total bases behind Castro from York. Well, he's picked up 8 here this afternoon.
Right now, that's a 2-way race for the MVP in this league. Carlos Castro has been amazing for the Revs. Galen watches that go through, and it's a strike called, 2-1. Gindel in this series is 5 for 11 with 4 homers and 6 runs batted in. He's driven in 21 runs now in 13 games. 26 on the season. He'd gotten off to somewhat of a slow start in the RBI category. Galen yanks it foul down the right side, 2-2.
And he and Jared Lakin are headed off to the Olympics. When
Galen and Lakin, yes.
Yeah, and when do they leave?
Well, the exhibition tour is in mid-July.
Okay.
Starting about the 15th. They're here on the 17th. I believe it wraps up at Long Island on the 20th.
So, by Atlantic League rules, is Lancaster able to fill those 2 spots then?
Yeah, they'll be put on the inactive list. Galen torches one to right. That will get all the way to the wall. It'll die at the wall. Liriano digs it up. Galen slides into second with yet another Barnstormers extra base hit here today. The Barnstormers with 8 hits on the afternoon off Manny Corpus. 8 runs on the board. Another man at second with 1 out. Of the 8 hits, you've got the 2 home runs by Gindel, triples by De Aza and Torrance, doubles by Rondon and Galen. And finally, Mark Minikazi is going to get somebody throwing in his bullpen. The Atlantic League has become at its highest scoring level since 2005, I would have to believe. And I think it's going to go past where we were the second half of 2005 when the Barnstormers hit some incredibly high-scoring games in here against Nashua and Somerset down the stretch. As we see a right-hander beginning to get loose.
34.
That is Edwin Quirarte. Saw him on Friday night. Trayvon Robinson's 1 for 2, lined out and singled. Corpus to the plate. Robinson gives one a ride. Back on this, Martinez, a long way back, and the walls will not hold it in. Trayvon Robinson goes deep, and it's 10-4.
Well, they're just teeing off on Corpus right now. I think he's hit the wall and just has nothing on his pitches, and the Barnstormers are jumping all over him.
It's turned into Corpus Delectable. Here is Alejandro De Aza, who has walked and tripled. You've got favorable wind currents, the electronic strike zone, and a red-hot hitting ball club. De Aza has a walk and a long 3-base hit. He takes a ball outside. It is 1-0.
And again, it's contributions top to bottom. I mean, okay, so you lose Diaz out of the leadoff spot, but now you plug him in it as a number 6 hitter. Oh,
and
what a great spot.
Look at the bench. Kelly Dugan, Ladarius Clark, Melvin Mercedes.
Yeah.
They're on the bench, and the team's got 10 runs on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a healthy offense, to say the least.
Yeah, this is a fun team to watch offensively. There's no doubt about it.
This club's averaging 7 runs a game. Line drive by De Aza, headed for the right field wall. It bangs off of it and then deflects away from Liriano. An extra base hit for De Aza as he cruises into second.
Okay, he's halfway there. He's got the hardest one out of the way.
Yep. Out comes Mark Minikaze. He's got to get Corpus out of there.
Yeah.
The Barnstormers just on an all-out offensive assault here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Quirarte will come in with the runner at second base, 1 out. 10-4 Lancaster. We'll take a break and be back with Edwin Quirarte. Edwin Quirarte takes over on the hill for the West Virginia Power. He is from Oxnard, California. 6'2", 240-pounder, and an experienced right-hander. He appears for the second time in the series, but he threw 2 innings here on Friday night and gave up 2-run homers to Ladarius Clark and Trayvon Robinson. Anderson De La Rosa, the batter, with Alejandro De Aza at second base, 1 out as the Barnstormers reach Manny Corpus for I have it now 10 hits and 10 runs. De La Rosa takes a strike. It is 0-1. West Virginia in a similar boat to the Barnstormers. The starter begins to get roughed up in the middle innings. They can't get him out. They just are too thin in the ranks in the bullpen. I'm sure that Minakazi did not want to bring Quirarte in the 4th inning of this game after throwing 2 innings 2 nights ago. Swing and a miss. Quirarte has De La Rosa at 0-2.
Yeah, I've got Lancaster for 10 hits as well. The scoreboard has 9.
Edwin Quirarte goes back to being signed by the Giants in 2008. He was in their organization for several years. He's good friends with Scott Schumann from the Giants days. Won 11 games for Richmond out of the bullpen in 2014. De La Rosa can't hold on the swing. He got badly fooled there. Quirarte starts off with a strikeout. Now Devon Torrance will step in. He flied to deep left and tripled over the head of the left fielder Tabata. 10-4 Lancaster. Were just in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Friday night, Eric, was the fastest 9-inning game played by the Barnstormers this year at 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to happen today.
Though it could. Called strike to Torrance. It's 0-1. And the way that it would do that is if West Virginia runs into a reliever that's tough on them, and if the Barnstormers get a couple more runs on the board, sometimes the games tend to really pedal along. Thursday night, we played in 258, and that was the scenario. Lexington, just for the 3rd straight night, just broke out the whooping stick, and that game got out of hand. And it just got to the point, not intentionally, but at some point in a situation like that, it's just let's get on the bus and get home. You would never outwardly say it, and you try not to let yourself think it, but it's in the back of the mind.
Well, we'll see Lexington after the 4th of July holiday. They come into town.
That is a loaded club. And if they need somebody, there's an ex-Cincinnati Red out there that Brandon Phillips just gets on the phone and calls. Strike 2, 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's interesting having an all-star major leaguer as one of your owners.
Yeah.
His younger brother's the manager. I didn't have a chance really to speak to anybody on the Lexington side while we were there, except for former Barnstormer Tyrell Harris, who yelled at me from the field and had me come over and good to see. It was good to see Tyrell.
23-6. Is that what their record is?
Outside and low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They haven't lost at home. That's all I know. They're 18-6. They're 13-0 in their own ballpark, and absolutely a juggernaut. You can't get through that team. I mean, their lineup is so good, and they still have some pitching hanging around to Torrance. 2-2, spun foul straight back. It's not so much that they have a ton of ex-big leaguers in the lineup, but they've got a great India League player in Tillman Pugh batting second. Former major leaguer DJ Peterson hitting third. Courtney Hawkins, former first-round draft choice for the White Sox, who was a big star at Sugarland a few years ago. Keon Barnum, who hit 31 home runs in the American Association 2 years ago. Torrance goes down swinging. The throw will have to go to first base. Peretti finds Espinal to end it. Quirarte comes on and shuts the door, but the Barnstormers pick up 4 more runs prior to that on home runs by Gindel and Robinson. 5 hits and 1 left. Barnstormers are up by 6. And Eric and I are still counting 10 base hits.
Yeah, I double checked it.
Double checked my own work.
Improving the value of their business and ultimately
And
selling their business.
the official box score online has 10 hits for Lancaster. I'm going with it. I'm sticking to my guns, Eric May.
I'm right there with you.
Jimmy Paredes will lead off the 5th against Augie Silk. Paredes, I'm sorry, was the designated hitter, so he's off the books now. And this is Quirarte. Silk will deliver, and Quirarte takes a ball down low. It's 1-0. What's happening a lot with these pitchers batting is you see them drawing walks. Quirarte can hit. He's 1 for 2, and he gets ball 2 from Silk, and you wonder how much Augie's got left.
Well, he's had plenty of time to rehydrate and kind of stay cool, but that's 3 pitches right out of the strike zone.
To the opposing pitcher, Quirarte, 1 for 2 with a run batted in. Well, he did play for a National League organization. Ball 4 is high. They're going to have to keep an eye on Silk here. It is hot and steaming this afternoon. And Augie has now thrown, pitch count is 85. Infield sets, double play depth. Here is Espinal, who has hit 2 ground balls. 1 misplayed into an error, the other one fielded cleanly. Ball 1 is inside. Silk off the mark with 5 in a row. He's walked 6 here this afternoon. Quirarte leads off first. He's not being held by Galen. And there's the first strike of the inning. It is 1-1. The way that wind's blowing, don't assume anything.
No. But when you got the pitcher leading off, you got to go right after him.
Ground ball, and Schumpert makes the pick. He's got a set for the throw. It's there in time. And now a throw behind Quirarte. He just got back in. Alleman had snuck over, and the Barnstormers almost turned a very quirky double play. Schumpert able to make the pick on this one.
That was some
the sliding halt. Espinal cut down. Then Galen, look at that. That was close.
That's a pretty nifty glove work there by Schumpert. Again, he had to kind of play that hop.
He's already been the victim of a bad hop to that glove side in the ball game today. So if he's a little bit gun shy, you can't blame him. Ball 1 to Reimer Liriano, who has walked twice. 1 out, runner at second. I'm sure Ross, even though he has action in the bullpen, would love to see Silk get through 5 innings. Foul ball back this way. Liriano up there at 1 ball and 1 strike. Decent turnout for a Sunday. Everybody's huddled up over the under the overhangs, I should say, to stay out of the sunlight. One and 1 to Liriano. That was good. Second strike. It's 1-2.
Well, I guess the one thing that goes in favor with Quirarte drawing the walk is now he's got to stand out in the sun at second base and then turn around and pitch next inning.
2-2. Schumpert, Rondon, and that guy, Gindel. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mistakenly on the lineup card, somebody pointed this out to me. We copied it over. A couple of different people have typed the lineups here this weekend. Lined into left center field. That is a base hit. Here comes Quirarte, and they'll let him score. It is now 10-5 on the RBI single for Liriano. Alberto Callaspo is the scheduled hitter, and back comes West Virginia. Callaspo today is 1 out of 2. Runs inside for a ball. Peretti is on deck.
Second time this afternoon that a walked batter from West Virginia has come around to score.
Ross has had to leave starters out there for over 120 pitches at times this season. And eventually that's going to snowball.
Oh, yeah.
3-0.
Yep.
But if you think Mark Minikazi, you wanted to leave Manny Corpus out there for 10 hits and 10 runs? No, he didn't. Ball 4 is high and outside on Kayasbo. Now runners are at first and second as Silk has walked his 7th. Dante Peretti is the scheduled batter. Ross Peoples is going to pay a mound visit.
Well, and I mentioned about the article that Mike Gross wrote in today's paper. And again, you talk about the robo-ump, and instead of pitching 2 spots on the plate, pitchers are now trying to throw into that robo-ump zone, which is completely different. And you wonder how much it gets into these pitchers' heads.
You've got that. You've got the younger pitchers, as we see Espinal warming up in the Lancaster bullpen. It's a ton of walks, it's long games, and then the pitching staff grind down, which further exacerbates the stretched out pitching staffs, the thinness of the pitching staff, and the league is in a spiral right now. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are wondering when somebody way above our pay grade might say enough is enough and try and get the ship righted before there's any more experimentation. 1 out with runners at first and second to Peretti, a strike. It is 0-1. You look at the team earned run averages in the Atlantic League, and of course the Barnstormers numbers are pretty gruesome, up above 7.6 on the season. That's a great pitch right there. Peretti's at 0-2. But the best team earned run average in the Atlantic League is now 4.51, and that's Lexington. And only Lexington and Long Island are under 5. Busted bat roller up the first base side. That will stay fair. It's scooped up by Galen. A gentle tag on Peretti for the 2nd out as Liriano advances to 3rd. Kayasbo advances to 2nd. The bat advances to the kindling pile. 2 outs, runners at 2nd and 3rd. Elmer Reyes to the plate. He is 0 for 1, but he's been hit by a pitch.
Well, and then the other thing that we talk about, second half of the season, the pitching mound is going to be moved back a foot. The mound
to be moved back a foot, which is going to create another adjustment and probably only accentuate the high-scoring nature of these games. High for a ball, 1-0 on Reyes.
I just worry what this is going to do to the pitchers physically. I mean, think about it. Your muscle memory, and you practiced and trained to go 60 feet 6 inches. Now you got to go back a foot.
In the air, deep to left, but very foul out to the hillside. 1-1 to Elmer Reyes. That's the concern.
Yeah, that's a huge concern.
The scientists who work for Major League Baseball have told us that it should not be, that they've tested it out, that it's not a major adjustment, not a great concern. Again, a deep drive foul. But Silk has Reyes at 1 ball and 2 strikes, a chance to get out of this inning. And I think Augie, if he gets out here, gets to take a rest for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Go in, ice down, take a shower, and be satisfied exiting with a 10-5 lead. That's all Ross is looking for, by the way, is 5 innings, 5 runs at this point in time. 5 innings, 4 or 5 runs.
Oh.
To the padding.
Wow.
And it kicks right back to De La Rosa. Smart base running on the part of Reimer Liriano, who put on the brakes in a hurry.
Yeah, at this point, Silk's just got to dig deep and just get that one last pitch to get out of this inning.
And imagine 2 years ago, Augie Silk was in rookie ball with the Kansas City Royals. And now he's pitching against a lineup of a lot of big league guys. High, pop fly, out to left. Looks like he's gotten out of it. Torrance packs that away. Augie Silk, I think, can take a seat for the rest of the afternoon, but a job pretty well done by the young lefty. He keeps this inning to 1 run, 1 hit, a couple of key runners left, and through 4.5, 10-5 Lancaster. A golf game breaks out at Clipper Magazine Stadium. We've seen a couple of Bryson DeChambeau tee shots already today. Here at the ballpark. How exciting is that guy to watch? You never know what to expect. Yeah. He's the antithesis of the steady player who goes par, 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 yawn, occasionally a birdie. No, Bryson DeChambeau, 400-yard drive, eagle. Next tee shot goes in the woods, double bogey. You never know where it's going to go. But entertaining, to say the least. One thing that happened to me during the pandemic, I got seriously into watching the PGA Tour.
What about playing golf? Do you play golf?
I play flog.
You play what?
Flog. It's golf backwards.
Oh.
Ball 1 to Nick Shumpert. It's 1-0. I wish I could play. My son, Danny, who is due here any minute, is a very good golfer. Smashed is short. Handled by Kelly. He has trouble fishing it out. Throw to first is not in time. Shumpert is aboard to start off the 5th against Kirarte. We'll see how that one is ruled. My guess is error, but we'll see.
Yeah, that was a playable ground ball. It just ate him up.
And E6 is indeed the ruling. Shumpert is on. Clea Luis Rondon having himself a day. This fatherhood notion has really done him well.
Yes.
He had a nice game last night. Today he made a sensational stop on a ground ball back in the 3rd inning. Wait, it wasn't the 3rd. It was the 2nd inning against Teodoro Martinez. Takes a strike. It's 0-1 at the plate. He's 2 for 2. A couple of liners into right. One is a double.
So is this his first child?
I believe so. I'm not certain, though. 0-1. Kirarte, who deals from an odd angle, very sharp break. Missing inside and low to Rondon. 1 ball and 1 strike. He and Anderson De La Rosa have become very good friends over the course of this season. 1 ball, 1 strike. They may or may not have known each other previously. There's a reasonable age difference. 2-1 now on Rondon. That guy waits on deck. I started to say his name has been typed wrong all weekend on the lineup card. I think we're going to keep it that way until the streak breaks. He'll be Caleb Gind on the press box lineup as long as this streak continues. There's no L. The 3-1 pitch. Rondon watches it go by and hit the outside corner. Full count. Shumpert the runner at first. The Barnstormers enjoying the 5-run lead. in the bottom of the 5th inning.
So you're one that when things are going well, you don't change things. You leave it as is.
The Rendon payoff pitch in the air left field. And in place now coming in a bit is Tabata. 1 out for Gindel. He's only homered twice and lined to first today. In the current 7-game streak, in which he has homered every day, it's not just the home runs. Today at 2 for 3, he is 13 out of 29 in the streak. That's 448, 2 doubles, the 7 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Shumpert takes off, the pitch is low, and the throw from Peretti skips a couple of times. Nick Shumpert with a stolen base.
Real good jump.
A single.
Yeah, real good jump by Shumpert.
Now this team can run.
Yes.
Shumpert with his 2nd stolen base. Everybody in the lineup can go. You don't have a Darian Sanford anymore, or a Johnny Turbo, the outfielder for the Long Island Ducks. He'll be in here this week. Previously known as Darby Myers. He's legally changing his name
To
Johnny Turbo. 2 balls and no strikes. Change of the arm slot for Cararte, but he's low and it's ball 3. When I hear the last name Turbo, it finally dawned on me where I know that name. Floyd R. Turbo, one of the great characters for Johnny Carson back in the old days of the Tonight Show.
Jeez.
The guy with the hat with the ear flaps.
Yep.
Floyd R. Turbo, American. Ball 4 is outside. Maybe kind of sort of pitching around Gindel. And Blake Allemond will come in.
For 1 of 2 reasons. You know, Gindel is just beyond hot right now. Plus, it sets up a potential double play to get out of the inning.
Shumpert at 2nd, Gindel a runner on at 1st. That brings on Allemond. 0 for 2 with a walk. He doesn't have a hit in this series. He tore it up at times on the last road trip. He had a 2-homer game at York, single-handedly won it. One ball, no strikes from Cararte. Fouled off, 1-1. I had the opportunity to have lunch with Blake the other day. Found out he is to some degree a hockey fan, which you don't necessarily associate with San Antonio, but they did have an AHL team, the Rampage, for a while.
So do you have a favorite NHL team?
You know, if he said, I don't recall. Popped up, foul ground, and playable for Cayaspo. Blake Galen to step in with runners at 1st and 2nd and 2 outs. Cararte has done a very nice job out of the bullpen and also at the plate. Cayaspo had just enough room. That out is the fault of the tarp crew. They should have, the last time they rolled it up, it should have been about 3 feet closer to the dugout. Cayaspo wouldn't have had the play. 2 outs, 2 on for Galen. Shumpert takes off. The throw from the knees for Peretti is wide. And Shumpert has not only stolen 2nd but 3rd. Gindel stayed put over at 1st, and runners are at the corners.
I don't even think Cararte was keeping an eye on Shumpert. Shumpert thought, all right, fine, then I'll just take off.
One ball, no strikes to Galen. Robinson's on deck. He's had himself a day again. Two 2-0 to Galen. Take another look at that jump for Shumpert. He was forgotten. Peretti had no chance. That throw could have easily ended up in left field. Cayaspo has been brilliant defensively in the 2 games he's played at 3rd base this weekend. Ball 3 is outside to Galen. Paredes played third here on Friday night. Three balls and nothing. Galen watches one come through for a strike, 3-1. The double in the fourth inning was Galen's 6th of the season. This offense is racking up some incredibly healthy numbers. 3-1 pitch. Galen drives it down the right field line, but he hooked it foul, something he has done a whole lot in recent weeks. Three balls, 2 strikes. With the next pitch, Gindel will be taking off. Payoff is due from Quirarte. Ground ball, second base. Easy pickings for Elmer Reyes. And Quirarte throws a scoreless inning in the bottom of the 5th. Despite an error, a walk, a couple of stolen bases, the Barnstormers can't produce any additional runs. And through 5, it's still 10-5 Lancaster. Yoel Espinal works to Scott Kelly. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Augie Silk got the Barnstormers through 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, walked 7. Now Espinal, who struggles with his control. 2 balls and nothing to Kelly. Fired outside, 3-0. The other night, Lexington took umbrage to about 4 or 5 brushback pitches in the same inning, but that was Espinal just having trouble locating his rhythm. 3-0 pitch. There's a delivery into the zone. 3-1 to Kelly, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. Yoel fires high and inside. That's been the issue. He walks the leadoff batter here in the 6th inning. Teodoro Martinez will come to the plate. Espinal, and in a sense, it's been scary. In 11 previous appearances, 2 of which have been starts, 19 in the 3rd innings, he's walked 33, and he has hit 10. Call it by whatever name. The yips, Steve Blass syndrome. Teodoro Martinez goes back to the dugout to strap on an elbow guard. I've never seen a hitter do that. It takes so long to do it before stepping in. But he put that elbow pad on.
Well, it's
the first pitch into the zone, strike 1.
You know, you got a game in hand. Yeah, you're up 5 runs. Yeah, there's still plenty of baseball to play yet, but you can ill afford to be giving up these free passes, because that can quickly turn into runs and momentum for the opposition.
High for a ball, and the count levels at 1-1. Jose Tabata is on deck. Leadoff man aboard in the top half of the 6th inning. Oh, look out. He got it. That is 11. The franchise record, and I unfortunately don't have access to those files, but I believe it is 15 in a season, as Martinez got that in another place where he's well padded. Runners at first and second, nobody out. The record is 15 in a season. That was Shunsuke Watanabe, who was a starter, and threw the frisbee sliders. Sometimes they would just break too far. And Shunsuke, when asked about the record, just said the hitters don't move. Only in broken English, which made it pretty funny.
And probably with a straight face,
yes,
too. Yeah.
Breaking ball for a called strike to Tabata. It is 0-1. Kelly at second. Martinez, the runner, at first base. And action has begun in the Barnstormers bullpen once again.
Well, a double play would just be wonderful right about now.
Swing and a miss by Tabata. It's 0-2. The pitch that was thrown that hit Martinez was reminiscent of 4 or 5 in the 1 inning against Lexington back on Thursday night. Breaking ball stays up. It's 1-2. I don't know whether you want to call it the yips or Steve Blass syndrome or what you want to call it, but Espinal has been horribly wild here. 1-2. Look out again. Fastball at 92 runs in on Tabata. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yoel Espinal to the set, and his pitch breaks off the outside corner. He's run the count to full, 3-2. And you don't know, Ross is in a spot where he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
3-2. The payoff is strike 3 called on the inside corner. Yoel Espinal with the punch out, first and second with 1 out now. And that will bring on the pitcher spot. It's a big out for Yoel Espinal. Such a likable guy. And he's got the good stuff. He's always been a little bit wild, but nothing to this extent. We've got a pinch hitter now. This is Marcus Connect, and he did just that the other night for a long double.
Oh.
Batted again last night with no success, so he's 1 out of 2 in the current series. First and second with 1 out. Espinal delivers, and the fastball's by him. It is 0-1. Connect has just 2 hits in 29 at-bats on the season, but that double the other night was impressive. Canada native from Toronto. Great pitch from Espinal for strike 2. That's what you like to see. Espinal had respectable numbers, yeah, a high walk count, but nothing extreme. With 4 major league organizations over the past decade or so. Tough to tell exactly what's gone on this year. He gets a pop-up. De La Rosa behind the plate, dancing around, makes the catch. Big second out. That's 2 critical outs. Picked up by Espinal here in the 6th inning. And it will be the all-Espinal battle now. Yoel against Edwin.
Well, and, you know, getting back to what you had mentioned a little bit earlier, too, about, you know, especially after the first 2 batters, you know, what does Ross do when you've got a depleted bullpen? If he can just settle down and throw strikes and have a good 1 or 2 outings, now you can put him in the rotation as far as, you know, where you want to spot him in relief.
Fastball for a strike, it's 0-1. This is what we've seen out of Yoel. He'll lock in for 5 or 6 pitches in a row. He's made some great pitches here.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss, it's 0-2. This is what he can do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's where you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Do you keep a guy who's walked so many and hit so many and gotten into a lot of trouble? But you see this, you're like, absolutely, this guy's got the potential to be phenomenal. 0-2, just fouled by the other Espinal.
Because if you have these inconsistencies, you can ill afford to put him in a game that's maybe a 1-run ball game. Now it's 10-5. Well, now that wildness puts runners on base and gives West Virginia a chance to get back in this game. If we can see more consistency out of what we've seen the last 2 batters on a regular basis, he will be an integral part of this bullpen.
2 strikes still. Wasn't far off the mark, but it's ball 1. 2 outs and 2 on in the top of the 6th inning. Edwin Espinal has hit the ball on the ground to the left side all 3 trips. Didn't miss by much on the 0-2. Espinal to Espinal, fouled away on the fastball. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yoel had averaged about 10 strikeouts per 9 innings prior to this year. Last pitched with the Rangers in Double-A in 19. 1-2, high and inside. Reimer Liriano, the right fielder, is the on-deck batter. They're reaching kind of a tipping point here in the 6th inning. 2-2. Popped up and playable. Good job by Yoel Espinal. Alamond handles it, and Yoel gets out of the inning. 2 men left by West Virginia. We'll go to the bottom of the inning, still 10-5. Sunday afternoon baseball at Clipper Magazine Stadium. The Lancaster Barnstormers got to starter Manny Corpus, the veteran Colorado Rocky, for 10 runs on 10 hits in 3 1/3 innings. Nothing against Edwin Quirarte, and now they will face Pat Young, a 6'7" right-hander, as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Young from a town that almost came into the Atlantic League several years ago. We heard quite a bit about this town potentially matching up with Sugar Land. He's from the Woodlands, Texas, which is a fairly wealthy suburb of Houston, to the north side of the city, where Sugar Land is to the south and west. Young has been terrific so far for Mark Minikazi and crew. 1-0, a 0.87 ERA. He's only allowed 2 hits in 10 1/3 innings. Trying to keep the Barnstormers offense down as West Virginia looks to come back. So Brendan Feldman, Vin Mazzaro, Joe Iorio, 3 right-handers will be the starters for the Long Island Ducks this week. The Barnstormers will have Andre Trattora on Tuesday night, and then it's not determined how the latter 2 games will go. I would have to imagine that Dominic DeSabatino will have one of those. Kelly Dugan now is going to bat in the pitcher spot. Trayvon Robinson was the DH today. He had done plenty of damage. A single, a home run, a line out, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 2 runs batted in. Trayvon can watch the rest of the proceedings. Dugan leading off against Young, and the right-hander deals a strike at the knees. It's 0-1. That pitch alone, we get an indication of why he's been so successful. That was perfectly located. Dugan coming off the bench today. The guy's only hitting .306 with 3 homers and 18 ribbies. Young finds that same spot. It's 0-2. He is in a very good rhythm. No balls, 2 strikes to the pinch hitter Dugan. The offering, ground ball, right side, dug up by Reyes. He'll throw to first, 1 out.
Can't ask much more out of Young. Pound the strike zone and put the ball on the ground.
Alejandro De Asa coming to the plate. He's got the double, he's got the triple. I don't know if he's going to get to bat twice more. That would remain to be seen. The Barnstormers have not collected a base hit against the bullpen. De Asa takes a ball low, 1-0. He went to pull a trigger and laid off. We saw a fairly similar story last night. Lancaster was done offensively by the 5th inning. De Asa got clipped in the foot. That one hurt. It becomes a base runner with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Anderson De La Rosa will be the batter. Ouch. Bat foot pitch, and De Asa didn't get the landing gear out of there in time. De Asa is that teammate that you see everybody looking up to, because he has a wealth of knowledge how to play this game. We talked about that earlier today. 11 seasons, part or all at the major league level. Well into his 30s, and still loves to put that jersey on, no matter where he is. To the outside corner on De La Rosa, it's 0-1. Anderson De La Rosa about the same age. He can relate. Pat Young works to him. No balls and a strike. De La hits this one in the air. Foul territory. Right there is Espinal. 2 outs for Torrance. Devon 1 for 3.
Number 4, the left fielder, Devon Torrance.
Well, it just goes to show you what Young and throwing strikes and getting ahead in the count can change the whole complexion of an at bat. Let's quickly work 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
Torrance has hit a triple back in the 3rd inning, driven over the head of the left fielder Tabata. I think has given Devon a little bit more respect now. He's not as shallow as he had been that at bat. Ball 1 and no strikes to the Barnstormers left fielder. Check swing as Young darts it low. 2 balls and nothing with Nick Schumpert, the third baseman, due next. This Barnstormers team just loaded. We talked about the bench today where you got Ladarius Clark, Kelly Dugan available. Peroni certainly hasn't been a slouch. He's not hitting for a high average, but boy, has he come up with some clutch hits for this team. Melvin Mercedes on the bench. And look what the lineup has done.
Yeah.
With guys who ordinarily do not start, like Torrance and Schumpert out there. 3-1.
And you always hear talk that, hey, if guys are in a groove, you keep playing them. But we're going to get into the heat of the summer. Guys are going to need a day off. And Ross Peoples has that luxury of going to the bench and not missing a beat.
Runner takes off, strike 2. There will be no throw, and De Asa has the stolen base. Devon Torrance up there with a full count, 3-2. He thought he had the walk, and so did Peretti, who decided it wasn't worth throwing. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Torrance with a chance to add an 11th run to the scoreboard if somebody or anybody can hit Pat Young, which has not happened often at all this year. 3-2. And that is finally ball 4. Torrance hung around to be sure. We've seen a total of 13 walks today. Nick Schumpert will come in. He's 0 for 3. He has reached on an error and stolen a couple of bases. Schumpert has not played at home. And you have to ask you, hasn't he been with us all year? And the truth is, no, he wasn't around the first couple of weeks. We knew he was coming eventually. Oh, no, that one bouncing away on a wild pitch, moving De Asa to third, and Torrance ahead to second. Base hit now could score 2 more. And just as Nick Schumpert was about to join us, John DeZamba retired, and Schumpert has adopted the role that DeZamba had. Now, Schumpert can play short. Realistically, that was not a position for John DeZamba. Foul back to the top of the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. DeZamba was swinging the bat really well from the left side of the plate.
So what prompted that?
It was just a family situation for John. He hopes to be able to rejoin the club later on in the season if things work out. 1-1 to Schumpert. Young deals, fouled off to the right. They get 1 ball and 2 strikes. Asa at third, Torrance at second. Schumpert is in the hole. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pat Young will bring it home and hit Schumpert. Well, that's 2 now. And Clea Luis Rendon will bat with the bases loaded. And there's some words being exchanged, it appears, down on the field. Schumpert doesn't appear happy. Edwin Espinal walks over and just slaps a glove on the backside. Espinal, from everything I've seen out of him over the years, is a very gregarious, warm and friendly fellow. It'll be Clea Luis Rendon with the bases loaded and planted in the small of the back. And you can understand why Nick might not have been terribly happy. 2 outs, bases loaded, and Rendon will step in. 2 out of 3.
It's been a long game. It's hot. I'm sure these guys are tired.
Martinez got hit in the top of the inning with a pitch behind him. Now it is outside to Rendon.
Man, how quickly things have changed. Young came out just firing strikes, and all of a sudden now he's been erratic.
A walk, 2 hit batters, and a wild pitch. Rendon up there 1-0. Young to the plate. Make it 2-0. And on deck is that guy again.
Just refer to him as that guy.
Ken Griffey Jr., Dale Long, and Don Mattingly have all done it. Hit home runs in 8 games in a row in the major leagues. 2-0.
Who was the first guy you mentioned?
Some guy, Ken Griffey Jr.
Or no. Griffey Mattingly and
Dale Long. He had held the record for a long time.
I don't know
Pardon
the
the
name.
pun, that was unintentional.
That name does not ring a bell.
3-0 to Rendon. He'll take the walk, and that will force in the Barnstormers' 11th run of the day. This is all on wildness. 2 walks, 2 hit batters in the inning. Gindel steps in.
Oh my.
Or Gind as he is on the lineup card, and we might have to keep that around for a while. 2 homers, a line out, and a walk for Caleb today. No room to put him here. Outside, ball 1.
Well, and the thing is, too, we've seen, even if they try and go outside, we've seen Caleb able to go down that left field line. If they leave it out there, he'll take it.
1-0 pitch. He lays off, and ball 2 is low. Young is getting somewhat frustrated. Lancaster leads by 6 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Torrance, Shumpert, and Rendon occupy the bases now. 2-0. And that's ball 3. And Pat Young takes his turn wondering where on earth the strike zone went. Gindel might be taking here, but who knows? 3 balls and nothing. He looks at it, and he'll get his 4th RBI of the afternoon as Pat Young has found home plate go into some sort of geographic tunnel and disappear. Torrance comes home. The bases remain loaded for Blake Alleman. 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored for him. Lancaster is up by 7. High and outside, ball 1 to Alleman. And there's very little that Mark Minikazi can do. He does have a right-hander just beginning to loosen up in the bullpen.
He's just lost it.
Those first 2 pitches to Dugan were sensational. A strike to Alleman. It is 1-1. They were great pitches, perfectly located, outside corner at the knees. He retired Kelly easily on a ground ball to second, and ever since then, it's been dart throwing. And the bullseye doesn't exist. 2-1. The count on Blake Alleman. The Barnstormers are just in a mode right now where they're just standing and watching pitches go by. Shumpert, Rendon, and Gindel are the runners. Alleman takes ball 3 off the outside corner. Apparently, whoever did do the voiceovers for the automated balls and strikes has taken a break here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 3-1 to Blake Alleman. Young will bring it home, and ball 4 is outside again. That's got to be so frustrating. Another bases loaded walk. Blake Galen will step in. He is 1 for 4. The Barnstormers have swung a bat realistically, or made contact anyway, twice in this inning. A grounder to second and a foul pop-up. But 2 hit batters and 4 walks have now led to 3 additional Barnstormers runs. And the catcher Peretti had gone out to the mound, and here comes the skipper. Mark Minicozzi is going to go back to the bullpen. You almost have to rescue a guy like Pat Young from the situation this afternoon. He's been so good for this West Virginia team. And home plate vanished somewhere into the ether on him. So he'll be lifted 2/3 of an inning in. It's 13-5, and we'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back. Former Sugarland Skeeter Gene Machi has come on in the bottom of the 6th inning. His task right now is simply to get through Blake Galen. Machi is West Virginia's closer. We've talked about how the other teams in this league are becoming more like the Barnstormers, as opposed to the Barnstormers getting that right signing and getting the pitching situation righted. Everybody else is becoming like Lancaster. Here's Mark Minicozzi without many options left, so he has to bring his closer in the 6th inning of a ball game where his club's losing by 8. That's not what you want to do. Machi 0-1, 4.5 ERA. He does have 3 saves. He's walked 1 in 6 innings, and that's, I think, what Minicozzi is looking at right now. He wants to get his club out of town. This series has been a nightmare for him and his ball club, and it has nothing to do with a lack of hospitality on the part of the Lancaster Barnstormers. It's just this situation with pitching, which is spreading through the league. It may have started with the Barnstormers, but it did not end here. Bases loaded for Galen, 2 outs in the inning. Machi to the plate, and he is outside for a ball, 1-0. Galen, amazingly, has not walked this afternoon. The Barnstormers have drawn 8. Galen would ordinarily have 2 or 3 of those under normal circumstances.
Yeah, he leads the team in base on balls. At least he did coming into the game today.
Ground ball pulled foul up the first base side behind Troy Steffi. 1 ball and 1 strike. Steffi has had a lot of company at first base today. He hasn't necessarily had a lot of coaching to do. Certainly not this inning. No, Diazza did steal. They had runners move up on a wild pitch, so there were some things for Troy to do, just not recently. Galen, the 9th man to bat for the Barnstormers here in the lower half of the 6th. 1-1 from Machi. Missing again. It's 2 balls and a strike. We thought we had a chance to get things in under 3 hours today. That has vanished. unless one of these innocent-looking clouds should suddenly bear a terrible rainstorm. 2-1, fouled back by Galen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I almost think both managers would welcome it.
Yeah.
Blake Galen bats at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Even the guys on the upper side of a game like this, they don't want to see these innings.
No.
They want to swing the bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Galen. Machi will bring it home. Ball 3 is outside. Everybody will be put on the move here, but I don't exactly expect a dead sprint. Three balls, 2 strikes, the count on Galen. Runners lead from everywhere. The payoff pitch swung on and hit high to right field. Back on this goes the right fielder, and reaching out is Liriano, just ahead of the wall for the final out of the inning. Galen didn't get enough of it. Didn't clear the glove of Liriano. The inning is over. A 3-run no-hit inning with 3 runners left on base as Liriano played that short dimension in right field here at Clipper Magazine Stadium perfectly. We'll go to the 7th, 13-5 Lancaster. Whenever you see more runs than hits, you know that walks have been involved, and indeed that is the case. Each pitching staff has walked 8 through 6 innings this afternoon. Garrett Granitz has come on for the Barnstormers. Good to see Garrett back in action after about 2.5 weeks on the shelf with a groin pull. He waited until he was pretty much 100% before coming back. He threw the 9th inning here Friday night, gave up a couple of base hits, but no runs. Liriano, Callaspo, and Peretti, the scheduled hitters in the top half of the 7th inning here today. We brought up the name Dale Wong earlier, one of the 3 who's homered in 8 consecutive games. He was the first baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 50s. First pitch across for a strike to Liriano. It is 0-1. Moved on to the Cubs in 57. I'm pretty sure he was with Pittsburgh when he did it, but here's the oddity. He never hit more than 27 home runs in a season. So to go deep 8 in a row is pretty wild. Ball 1 is inside to Liriano.
So was he there playing the same time as Ralph Kiner?
Robert said it was tight.
I would have to double check. 56 was his big year. 27 home runs, 91 runs batted in on a team that was 66 and 88. 1-1, and that is judged low. 2 balls and a strike to Liriano. Frank Thomas was the 3rd baseman on that team. Another Frank Thomas. 2-1 pitch. Beaten foul right at the plate. 2-2 on Liriano. Bill Verdon. Dick Grote, Bill Mazeroski, of course. He was no longer with the Pirates when they won the World Series in '60. He had moved on. He went to the Cubs, in fact, in '57. 2-2 pitch. Doesn't clip the inside corner, and we've gone full on Liriano. It is 3 balls and 2 strikes. And eventually went to the Yankees, the Senators, back to the Yankees. The pitch, tattooed to center. Sprinting back on this is Diaz. It's past him and rolling to the wall. Liriano with extra bases. He'll stop at second and a leadoff double against Granite's here in the top half of the 7th inning. Yoel Espinal walked 1, hit 1, and struck out 1 last inning. Granite's greeted by the double. In steps the switch hitting third baseman Alberto Callaspo. The 8 home run stretch was May 19 to 28, 1956 for Dale Long. Not a Hall of Famer, solid player for a number of years, but he etched his place in history, only to be matched decades later by Griffey and Mattingly, 2 far more well-known guys.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a trivia question for a long time, and I couldn't think of the name until I looked it up online. Dale Long.
That's a good one.
1 ball and 1 strike to Callaspo. Ground ball foul up the first base side. Granite's with the advantage in the count. It is 1-2. The Barnstormers leading this afternoon 13-5. We're only in the 7th inning. We're closing in on the 3-hour mark. The hit barrage, the extra base hits early in the game, that was fun. The walk parade, not so much. 1-2 on Callaspo. Granite's will dip down and break that one off the inside corner, turning Callaspo around. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lancaster has scored in 5 of the 6 innings here today. Two balls, 2 strikes on Callaspo. Granite's will bring it home. That's ball 3. This automated system seems to be very unkind to Garrett.
I think it's unkind to a lot of pitchers.
3-2. Callaspo waits. Granite's clearly misses with that one. And now runners are at first and second with nobody out. Dante Peretti, the catcher, will come to the plate.
It's just a shame because stuff like this is what brings a game to a grinding halt.
And it really has been. It's simply got to be draining for the guys on the field. We've seen some of the fans leave.
Yeah, I just got a text message referencing that home run record. All 3 of those were left-handed batters. Long, Griffey, and Mattingly.
This is true. Ground ball right side. Could be a couple of outs here. Out at short, Rendon back to first. Started by Alamond, a 4-6-3 double play. That will help Garrett Granite's. 2 outs, leaving Liriano at third. And Elmer Reyes, the second baseman, will come to the plate. Just beautifully done by Alamond and Rendon. Garrett Granite's the right-hander from the wonderful community of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, up there on Route 151. My old stomping grounds. Outside for a ball, 1-0. Garrett brought me a Madison Muskies hat when he arrived on the scene this season. He'd been back home. He lives in Florida now. And he was home and saw it in the store. Thought of me. I worked there my first 3 full seasons in the baseball business with the single A affiliate of the Oakland A's, the Madison Muskies. We had a great time.
So do you just have a hat collection? Because I've never seen you
No.
don a cap before.
No, I don't wear them. If you want to, it's in the other booth, by the way. Foul ball back,
Oh, is it?
1-2. You thought you were getting one, didn't you?
It was close. It was in the general vicinity.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Liriano at third with 2 outs. Granite's trying to pitch a scoreless 7th inning, and that's floated out to center. This is a tough play. Back on it goes Alamond. Can't get to it. It's in for a base hit. Reyes with a chip shot into right center field, driving in a run. Liriano across from third, and it's now 13-6 with the top of the order, Scott Kelly, stepping in. With all the walks, with all the bombs, we've seen extra base hits along the way today and throughout the season. You give up an RBI single like that when you've gotten the better of the hitter. You just want to toss your cookies. I mean, that's about the size of it. I mean, what else can go wrong? 13-6 now as Kelly steps in. He's walked twice in the game. I think Granite's made a terrific pitch to Reyes. Gives up that base hit. Now he's still got more work to do. Strike is in on Kelly. It is 0-1. He silked through 105 pitches today. Espinal 24.
Whoa.
Granite's misses outside. He's thrown 20. We've seen 147 pitches leave the hands of the Barnstormers through 6 2/3. Kelly batting at 1-1. Reyes the runner at first. Granite steals, ground ball left side. That'll bleed on through and bring on Teodoro Martinez. Granite's got the double play, but he hasn't been able to get the third out. That is a vintage Scott Kelly base hit. He owns that hole. He always has.
Yeah. Just reminiscent of his days with Somerset. Well, now Garrett's got to dig a little deeper here. You don't want to continue to give up these base hits.
Yeah, you don't want to let the power up off the mat.
No.
13-6 our score. 2 outs and 2 on. Martinez drives it down the right side. That's going to slice into the seats, though. Harmlessly, strike 1. Does he have the elbow pad on? Doesn't look like it.
Nope.
Nope. Didn't go back to get it this time.
A little more confident.
Granite floats it outside for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Well, I guess you figure even if you get hit, it's coming in about 20 miles an hour slower.
Right.
One and one to Martinez. Granite's will bring it home. Ground ball again on that left side. This time gloved by Schumpert, who will get Granites and the Barnstormers out of the inning. 5-3. The ground out by Martinez. It is 1 run, 3 hits, 2 more left on base. That's 11 on the afternoon for West Virginia. Time for the stretch. 13-6 Barnstormers. high-octane offenses today as the Barnstormers have produced a number of extra base hits along the way this afternoon. Balls traveling really well into the gaps, over the fences. 10 runs on 10 hits off of Manny Corpus, and largely responsible Caleb Gindel. He's driven in 4 of the 13 Barnstormers runs on the day, but also a home run for Trayvon Robinson. We've seen Alejandro De Aza with a double and a triple. Devon Torrance, a 3-base hit along the way today. 13-6 as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, and the 5th right-hander of the day for the West Virginia Power. They weren't the West Virginia Power last night, Eric May. They were the Charleston Charlies, digging into the history books of baseball in Charleston when they're contemplating going back to that name.
Well, number 16 is not listed as a pitcher.
Dominic Bethencourt, a position player, has come on for the bottom of the 7th inning. Bethencourt is an infielder by trade, but it's that time of the game. 13-6. Native of the Dominican Republic, Bethencourt's 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. He gets to face the pitcher spot, and we're going to see Ladarius Clark occupy that. And then De Asa and De La Rosa. Gene Machi got the fly ball out of Galen to close out the 6th inning with the bases loaded. The Barnstormers have left 8 runners now for the game. West Virginia, we mentioned 11. Clark digging in. Bethencourt is well upstairs for a ball. It's 1-0. He's pitched a couple of other times for West Virginia, and he's 1-0. He's given up 4 hits, 6 runs, 2 earned, and 2 1/3 innings, with a couple of walks and a strikeout. The 1-0 pitch off the outside corner, 2-0. And this year, you have to have the position players that can pitch. Lancaster happens to have 3 of them, with Gindel, Galen, and Alleman. We've seen all 3. Low and inside to Clark. 3 balls and nothing. Lancaster has thrown 152 pitches on the day, and 150 now served up by West Virginia. 3-0. Clark lets it ride, and it's a called strike. 3-1. He'll get a leadoff walk here in the 7th inning. The Barnstormers have now drawn 9. Here's De La Rosa, 0 for 3 with an RBI. This is especially hard on the catchers.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon me, I lost track of my scorecard. This is De Aza. De La Rosa's on deck. De Aza hasn't been retired. Double, a triple, a walk. He's been hit by a pitch. Bethencourt misses badly outside for a ball. 1-0 here. There's only one other game underway in the Atlantic League. York leads Southern Maryland. Get this, 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
What?
Which is where we are, and they started an hour later. It's Alberto Rodriguez and Darrell Thompson on the mound. 3-0 on De Asa. Long Island at Gastonia at 4:50. High Point at Lexington at 5:05. Our ball game is 3 hours old. Nobody out in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Barnstormers up by 7. DeAsa looks at a strike. Clark, the pinch hitter, went to 3-0, then 3-1, got the walk. DeAsa on a similar track. 29:04, the attendance today. 3-1, DeAsa with a bomb to right field. Liriano doesn't even turn around. That's the first for DeAsa. Can he get up again? He's a single from the cycle.
Wow.
He's been just spraying those little soft liners around, getting his base hits, and then got that pitch, and DeAsa put that to Clay Street. 15-6.
And the fact that Liriano didn't even flinch.
Oh, hit that off the sweet spot.
Oh, yeah.
Past the tense, past everything. De La Rosa now the hitter. Can they get DeAsa up one more time? They love him. He's a treat. High inside, Bethencourt totally crossing up Peretti. It is ball 1-0. High fly ball, right field. Liriano has little trouble with it. De La Rosa's retired. Got to get a few more guys on base to give DeAsa a chance for the cycle. Olmo Rosario, Gabe Jacobo, Ryan Castile. They've done it in Barnstormers history. Devon Torrance now the hitter.
Well, I guess Rosario the most recent.
Oh, Rosario was the first. He
did
it,
really?
Yeah, he did it in 13. Jacobo in 14 and Castile in 18.
Oh, jeez.
Rosario's was the only one here. Called strike to Devon Torrance with 1 out here in the lower half of the 7th inning. Popped up to shallow center field.
Watch out.
Scott Kelly at the last second calling off Teodoro Martinez. It got a little scary for a second. 2 outs. Here is Shumpert, who doesn't have a base hit today, but he has scored a run and stolen a couple of bases. Officially, he is 0 for 3.
They tell us that home run by DeAsa was pretty far up that light pole.
He tried to Redmanovich. Ryan Redmanovich of Somerset back the first season or 2 here, pulled a Roy Hobbs and took out a light.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh.
We've not been able to determine exactly what the longest home run hit to right field is because the balls vanish.
Yeah.
Shumpert went reaching, fouls it back. Redmanovich certainly with a candidate. Stephen Drew on Memorial Day, our first season, hit a grand slam to right field. That's up there. To left, I have to believe Fernando Seganal with the longest home run ever hit to the left side here. Foul tipped, and Peretti unable to hold it. Shumpert's still in there. He hit a ball to left center field off the back ad wall.
Wow.
I think that was longer than anything Ryan Harvey ever hit at home. I think Harvey hit a couple of home runs on the road that were longer.
I'm just trying to get a gauge on from the fence to that back ad wall.
I've been out there, and my best guess is about 475 in that direction. No Barnstormer has ever cleared the back ad wall in straightaway left field. There may have been an opposing player do it at some point. Schumpert fouls a pitch off.
And where did he hit it? Left center or left field?
Segnal?
Yeah.
Left center, where right now it wasn't the advertiser at the time, but where the Smile Builders sign is.
Okay.
And it's 409 to the fence.
Oh, jeez.
1-2.
Oh.
Up high. Rendon is on deck. The question is, Barnstormers, between this inning and next, they need to get 3 base runners to get DeAsa around again with a chance to hit for the cycle. It won't happen here as Schumpert goes down swinging, but DeAsa with the home run to add 2 more to the Barnstormers' coffers, and it's 15-6. One of the new features at Clipper Magazine Stadium here in 2021, we actually have Fuddruckers providing the burgers. And the biggest fan of that whole idea is my counterpart from the Long Island Ducks, Michael Pollock. He's in here this week, and he will be attacking the concession stand. He may be the biggest Fuddruckers fan I know. And I like Fuddruckers, don't get me wrong, but I have some dietary issues where I can't fully enjoy it. However, whenever Michael has been in town, this has been a thing between us for the last few years. I always took him to the Fuddruckers over at, I can't even remember exactly where it is. It's over off Centerville Road. There's a location over there.
It's moved around a little bit now.
But I enjoyed it as well. Michael just gets giddy at the thought of Fuddruckers, and the fact that we have it in the ballpark, he's all stoked. First pitch to Jose Tabata here in the top of the 8th inning from Ryan Evans is a ball.
So in other words, he has these dates circled when he's coming to Lancaster.
Strike taken is 1-1. I think that balloon might carry out.
Well,
it's actually distracting play. The last thing we needed was a haltage of play from a balloon. There it goes, and the walls will not contain it. Ball 2 outside the top of the 2.
That's a first for you. A home run call on a balloon?
I have a 3-hour limit. Foul ball. Ooh. Top of the net caught it. I thought that was going to be in here.
I had my head down. I missed it.
Two and two. Evans works to the plate. That is hit high and far to right field. Backing up is Gindel, and the walls won't contain the baseball or the balloon. Tabata with a home run. That is the first for West Virginia here this weekend, and it is now 15-7 in the top of the 8th inning. One needs to have compassion on these poor pitchers today. You have to just about throw it on a dime, and the wind is blowing out to right field on a warm afternoon. It's conducive to round things leaving the ballpark, whether they're filled with air or string and rubber. I mean, you watch the balloon. There's another one. Gindel will turn around, and that ball has left the yard for Bethencourt. And now it is 15-8.
Well, you said it early on after Gindel hit that first home run. You said, I think there's going to be more that way today. There's been a ton.
The batter is Espinal, who's 0 for 4. Now, in Ryan Evans' defense, he pitched an inning in last night. He got the win, but it was not an easy inning and a third. He's trying to throw strikes this afternoon and maybe getting a little too much of the plate. Into the dirt to Espinal for a ball. It's 1-0. Tabata and Bethencourt go deep. To Espinal, 1-0 pitch. Fails to stay on the outside corner. 2 balls and no strikes. And still 6 outs that the Barnstormers need to pick up today. The 2-0, Espinal slaps it on the ground. This should be one of them. Alamond, an easy play, and Espinal's retired. Edwin Espinal came in here batting well over 400. He is 0 for 10 in the series. Barnstormers record the first out. Liriano comes to the plate. Reimer Liriano, he's 2 for 2. He has scored 2 and driven in 1. I've actually been texting back and forth with Michael Pollock. We were exchanging rotations, but he doesn't know he's gotten airtime. Oh. I'm going to tell him. Ball 1 is inside, 1-0.
He could be an actual voice of the sponsorship then.
2 balls and no strikes. He'll be in here Tuesday through Thursday with the Long Island Ducks, managed once again by Wally Backman. They're the defending Atlantic League champions. 2-0. Fly ball to right field, but this one will not approach the fences. Caleb Gindel there for the catch. Liriano is retired for the first time all afternoon. That brings on Alberto Callaspo, 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. Evans from Orlando. He was pitching for New Hampshire in the Empire League. The Empire League and the Pecos League becoming feeder leagues now to the Atlantic. We've seen over the past couple of weeks, especially the Empire League, because, well, let's face it, it's a whole heck of a lot closer to bring guys in from Plattsburgh, New York than Bakersfield, California.
I'd say.
0-1. Fastball is high, 1 ball and 1 strike. But that had to be the case because if you don't get guys in from the Empire League, the Pecos League, we have to wait for the draft to go by, and I think we may see that. Oh, boy, there's another one. Dropping the bat head down was Callaspo, and it's the 3rd solo shot of the inning. 15-9 now.
20 home runs coming into the game. 20 home runs in 24 games, and they have
3 in 1 inning.
3 in 1 inning. Oh, jeez.
Here is the catcher Peretti. It was 1 for 4 with a run batted in on the day. Look at that. That's as pure as it gets. Unless you're Deasa in the bottom of the 7th. Partial swing by Peretti. He got badly fooled. A strike. It's 0-1. But again, you bring these youngsters in like Ryan Evans. He's not long on experience. He pitched collegiately at Grambling. which is D1, but it's not a top-tier D1 program. Same was true with the guy who threw last night, Cody Boydston, who did very well before cramping up. He pitched at Longwood, again, D1, but not major D1. And then you're throwing him in against Alberto Callaspo and Jimmy Paredes. And on our side, Alejandro De Aza. Good golly. Ball 2 is inside, 2-1. Lancaster needs 4 outs to escape the afternoon. Now, they don't want to have to use Schumann. 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs. The base is empty. Ball 3 is up and away. Schumann struggled to get the save last night, and a fluky play nailed the game down. It was the roughest he's looked all year in 11 outings. 3-1. Evans drills Peretti, who sheds some gear and takes his base. Third batter hit by the Barnstormers today, Pat Young. Hit 2 Lancaster batters, a total of 5, and it's not a beanball war. It's pitchers getting frustrated and trying to aim, and when you try to aim, the ball has a way of getting away from you. Nobody is able to be fluid and know exactly what to do. Base runner on. Here's a pitch to Elmer Reyes, which is a ball, 1-0. Lancaster 15, West Virginia 9, and 4 more outs needed. Peretti is not being held by Galen at first. The pitch, breaking ball chased. 1-1 to Reyes, who singled home a run last inning off of Garrett Granitz with a tiny little pop fly out to shallow center nobody could get to. Swung on and missed. Gets away from De La Rosa, and nobody really seems to care. 1-2.
Yeah.
If it's 5-4 with a runner at first base in the top of the 8th inning, you better believe Peretti is bolting towards second on that. 1-2. Evans drops it low. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Top of the 8th inning, 15-9 here. It's gotten out of control. By the way, Southern Maryland put 4 on the board against York. The Blue Crabs lead at 4-1. Hard hit ground ball, but foul past third base, down toward the West Virginia bullpen.
I thought you were going to say the game's over.
Now they've matched us, top 8. Darrell Thompson trying to win his 4th. He just keeps going and going for that Southern Maryland franchise, player coach. 2-2 pitch, topped foul. Reyes won't go away. We close in on 3.5 hours today. The 2-2 once again. Chopper foul. Ouch, ouch, ouch. He hit it off his foot. Two balls, 2 strikes, continuing on Elmer Reyes in the top of the 8th inning. Lancaster now has been out hit today. 11-10.
Oh, I just noticed that.
Now I think it's 11-11. Liner out to right field. Now they have been out hit. Kendall will take that on a couple of skips. Reyes earned that base hit, a good at bat. Now it's first and second, and Ross Peoples is going to use up, I believe, his last time out. Scott Kelly will come to the plate. And if he gets on, suddenly you've got Teodoro Martinez coming up, and this ball game could end up being a save situation. And I think if it is, today you may see Moya and not Schumann.
Well, and especially if you said Schumann went, what, one and a third?
He won an inning last night, but it was an extraordinarily long inning for him, 23 pitches. And there is action in the Barnstormers bullpen. Scott Kelly stepping in with Peretti at second, Reyes at first. It's now been 3 batters since the second out was recorded. Two balls, or that was the last count. Breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. I looked at the scoreboard and went, that's not right. Nothing in one. Everybody's just sort of been lulled into the doldrums here this afternoon. No balls and a strike to Kelly. Evans comes back and hits him. 4 batters hit by Barnstormers pitching now. And it'll bring on Martinez, who's 1 out of 3. He's been hit by a pitch. He has walked.
Well, Ryan, Evans is saying that he never even attempted to get out of the way and were leaned into it at the same time.
The Barnstormers with action down in the bullpen. Right-hander throwing. Two outs, bases loaded to Martinez. A strike back to the inside corner. Good start to this plate appearance. It's 0-1. The bases are loaded. Martinez gets one up into the jet stream out to right field, and suddenly it's a 2-run game. This is a big batter. 0-1. Stays inside and low, a ball and a strike. This is why every run counts.
Yep.
Danny Taggart warming up in the Barnstormers pen. 1 ball, 1 strike on Martinez, the 9th man to bat in this inning. We've seen 3 home runs, 2 hit batters, and a single. Good pitch, 1-2. If Evans gets Martinez, it's a 6-run lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning. If Evans does not get Martinez, this ball game is suddenly scary. When it was 15-6 coming into the top of the 8th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch is hit high in the air. Shallow center. Coming on is De Asa, and Evans is out of the jam. 3 more men left on base for West Virginia. It's now 14 for the afternoon. 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 left. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 15-9. Getting a little tired and probably a bit hot, a bit cranky, but still enjoying the day. Sort of like me.
Well, look at it this way. You got your son to drive you home. You can actually rest.
I've been reunited with my car. I haven't had it all weekend. It's been that kind of a week. thankfully, the great tandem of Blake Glass and Phil Frickel, our wonderful clubhouse managers downstairs, have been providing my taxi service back to the Holiday Inn the last couple of nights. There's Cleo Luis Rendon, tough out today. 2 out of 3. A run scored, 2 runs batted in. Long story, but I drove home to Virginia Sunday night after we got back from Long Island to jump in my wife's car Monday to drive to Lexington. They drove back to Virginia on Thursday. I took the bus back here after the game on Thursday night, and I've been without my wheels. It's felt awkward. Ball 1, no strikes, 2-0. But with that, you have one of those memorable moments. I was walking to the ballpark yesterday morning. There was a young fellow on the street corner yesterday, popped up by Rendon. Easy call and catch for Espinal. 1 out here in the 8th, and it's beginning to look like we're not going to get De Aza up again. But he was selling jokes for 25 cents. And I saw his sign, and I asked him, are they clean? He said, what? I said, the sign, jokes for 25 cents. Are they clean jokes? He said, well, I can. As Gindel takes a strike from Bethencourt. Nothing in 1. Gindel, 2 homers, 2 walks, 4 ribbies today, and a line out. And I was able to strike up a conversation with him. I'm not going to give away his material, but he told me a joke. I said, that one's worth $1.
Wow.
And then he gave me a couple freebies after that. Just those little experiences in life.
How much business he got?
Well, I don't think he got much more walk-up business. 2 strikes. The count on Gindel. Blake Allemond is on deck. Upstairs from Bethencourt. Ball 1 to Caleb.
So did he have a booklet as far as like an index as to what type of joke?
Nope, no note cards.
No.
1-2 breaking ball. Gindel knocks it in the air the other way. Long chase for the left fielder Tabata, and the ball lands foul. It almost got pushed back onto the field of play by the wind. Gindel will stay alive with the 1-2 count. Tabata, Bethencourt, and Espinal will bat in the 9th inning against, it looks like, Taggart maybe coming in. That fly ball by Teodoro Martinez may have saved this game for the Barnstormers. 1-2, Gindel, chopper, first base. Espinal will shovel to Bethencourt, 3-1 for the second out. And it'll bring on the second baseman, Allemond, 0 for 3 with a pair of walks today. De Aza may not have the chance for the cycle. And up until today, Alejandro has been the singles maven. So you'd think it would be easy for him to get that part.
Right.
But he may never have the opportunity. To Allemond, a ball inside 1-0. And unless the next 3 Barnstormers reach base, let's certainly hope he doesn't have the opportunity. One ball and nothing. Allemond, little looper out beyond shortstop. Kelly can't reach it. 2 out base hit. The first of the series for Allemond.
Number 2, first baseman.
Now we just need 2 other guys now.
Galen needs to get on, and whoever would bat in the pitcher's spot would need to get on. They've used Dugan and they've used Clark. So you've got Peroni is left and Mercedes. Here's Galen looking at a pitch far outside, ball 1. Our ball game today has now seen 6 hit banners and 18 walks. We have 23 base hits, 24 runs. Remarkably, just a couple of errors. Galen gets a pretty good swing in, but fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Alleman, the runner at first base, with 2 outs. 29:04 started the day, and I'm afraid a few folks have probably gone the way of my cookies and cream. They melted. The Galen 1-1. Ball 2 off the outside corner.
Yeah, they still want to make something of a Sunday afternoon before it starts creeping into Sunday evening.
Three and 1 now. We're working toward getting De Aza up there. Jacobo hit for the cycle in Somerset. Castile did it in Sugar Land. Olmo Rosario did it here in a rain-shortened game of all things. To Galen, 3-1, and he hits a drive to right center field. Way back it goes, and the walls won't contain that one either. The Barnstormers get the 2-point conversion. Galen with his 4th.
Wow. Well, right and right center field have been quite busy beyond the walls today.
Being a pitcher out there today is, I think, the equivalent of being a human tackling dummy for the Baltimore Ravens. You feel like the guy in the commercial with James Harrison.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the sponsor. I think it's Geico, but I remember the ad.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was. You know, if our John Kilgore was out there, he could have had a second home run ball.
Here's Anthony Peroni, who pops this up to right field. De Aza may not get his chance. He's not going to. Liriano with the catch. De Aza, 1 batter short of the opportunity to hit for the cycle. And may it not come around, please. 2 runs, 2 hits in the bottom of the 8th. It's 17-9. If I had a shred of creativity left, I could probably come up with the 12 days of Barnstormers baseball here in 2021. 8 homers flying. and a balloon that cleared the wall.
If you could do that in a short period of time, then hats off to you. Well, you've had plenty of material, that's for sure.
There's Danny Taggart coming in for the top of the 9th inning. Not a save situation. Taggart 0-2 with a high ERA. He's given up 32 hits, 25 earned runs in 19 and a third innings. It is just to the point of absurdity, these scores in which the Barnstormers have found themselves this year. They're about ready to get started in Gastonia. That's how long we've been playing, and they've come to a kind of a grinding halt at Southern Maryland. They're in the bottom of the 8th with the Blue Crabs leading 4-1. Taggart to Tabata, and ball 1 is upstairs. Tabata started the salvo in the 8th inning with the first of the 3 West Virginia home runs. Taggart bends the breaking ball low. It's 2-0. Evans gave up 4 hits, hit 2 batters, allowed 3 runs. Here comes the 2-0. Tabata looks at a strike on the outside corner. Maybe the automated balls and strike system has a heart after all. 2-1. Taggart gets him to reach, make it 2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, if you're the West Virginia Power, what do you have left?
Low voltage.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Taggart deals. It's popped up foul, coming back and out of play. Teams are off tomorrow, and you have to think, thankfully so, for the managers, the pitching staffs,
the bullpens.
Tabata fouls another one away. So he's continuing to battle. West Virginia gets to go home after this and then get back on the bus on Tuesday and drive 3 additional hours to Lexington. But they might as well stop off at home on the way and spend the day off. It's literally right on the way. You drive past Appalachian Power Park. You could basically drop a baseball off the interstate and land it in the stadium. So you might as well pull off and spend the day at home. 3-2 to Tabata. Leading off here in the 9th inning. The payoff pitch is hit in the air, right field, and foul. 9th pitch of this at bat is coming up. Made that drive in the car the one way and on the bus the other way. And sure enough, you go right past the ballpark. At least we did. Maybe on the way home we didn't, but we did on the way from Virginia.
So how long?
It's close enough. You go through Charleston anyway. Driven to right center field. Look out. The wind's got it, but back on it goes De Asa for the catch. Tabata's retired. That's 1 gone here in the 9th.
So how far is that drive for you from your home to Lexington?
It took about 8.
Wait, from your house to Lexington?
Took about 8. It's 9 from here, but you've got a straighter shot from here. If you take the interstates from where I live in Virginia, this will be Joe Quinones stepping in. Somebody we have not seen in this series.
Batting for West Virginia, number 6.
He'll bat from the left side of the plate. Make a note of that on the scorecard. Danny Taggart working with 1 out in the top of the 9th. Fastball is outside and low. Ball 1 and no strikes. But the interstates bow out of the way. You have to go way down south on 81 and then come back up north on the combination eventually of 64 and 77, which is the West Virginia Turnpike. The straightest route is hardly straight. US 48 through the mountains, and I wasn't about to make hairpin turns in the rain the other day. 2-1. But apparently that's what Southern Maryland did. They told me that it took 13 hours for them to get back from Lexington.
Oh, jeez.
Long Island had a home-and-home series with Gastonia. That's a 13-hour trip they both had to take between night games. 3-1 now on Quinones. 1 out, top half of the 9th inning.
That's brutal.
Barnstormers actually don't have too many of the long trips left. There will be 2 6-hour trips back from Charleston, 1 9-hour trip to Lexington, and 7 hours back and forth to High Point later on in the season. That comes up in September. They do have 2 overnight trips from Southern Maryland to Long Island staring at them, though. And that's not exactly right next door.
Nope.
Takes about 7. 3-2. Swung on and missed. We're 1 out away. The Barnstormers knocking on the door of a sweep. Edwin Espinal coming in against Danny Taggart.
All right, time to put an end to this one right here.
2 outs, nobody on. Taggart to Espinal. Fly ball toward the right field corner. Giving chase is Gindel, still sprinting after it. It's foul and untouched. 0-1. Gindel chasing after that one. Please come back my way. Please, please, please. You almost have to think at this point that both teams want to get off the field. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 degrees. I haven't checked the temperature recently. And they've been out there for almost 4 hours now.
Well, that was the forecast. And then you factor in the high humidity.
Ball 1 and a strike on Espinal here.
Oh, sorry.
It is 90. 2-1. 90 degrees. Right now in Lancaster, the heat index is 98.
Ooh.
Strike 2 to Espinal. 1 strike away from a merciful end. 2-2 pitch. In the air, foul off to the right. The Barnstormers have scored in 7 of 8 innings in this game. The inning in which they did not score, they left runners at the corners. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled again. The problem is, as much as I think everybody wants this game to be over, the one guy who doesn't is the guy at the plate, because you never want to give up your own at bat. Oh, we've seen Tabata battle and battle and battle, and now Espinal's doing it. Taggart's facing just his 3rd batter, but he's over 20 pitches. 2-2. There it is! A swing and a miss, and the Barnstormers complete the sweep of the 3-game series against the West Virginia Power. Nothing across in the top half of the 9th inning. The Barnstormers win it today by the final score of 17-9. 5 Barnstormers home runs, and congratulations to Caleb Gindel, who has connected for the 7th consecutive game. We'll be back with you on Blue Ridge Cable 11 come Tuesday night at 6:30. The Barnstormers taking on the division rival Long Island Ducks. Until then, for my partner Eric May, for all the guys and the camera crew and the truck, and for all the cast and crew here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you at the ballpark.